Salutations, everyone. Shadow Taurus here, back with another live stream. Hello, you know, we live in this hoe. Let me stop. My one. I got. How's everyone doing? For those who are gonna be joining, hello. I am here, and I've got some videos to react to. I've got some power scaling stuff to react to, and so I'm excited. So we're not even gonna waste time. We're gonna get into the first video. This is by our main man, Sage of Thick Calves, and he put out Could Godzilla or Godzilla vs. Kurama. This was 4 months ago. I don't know how his opinion has changed since then, but you know we will see. Let's do this. Oh god, that was loud. How loud is that? Wow, that's really loud. Okay, let's slow that down a bit. Hopefully that's better. Holy crap, that was loud.
Godzilla is one of the most iconic monsters of all time.
This is true.
An apex predator, revered as a god and feared as a natural disaster.
Right.
The king of monsters has consistently displayed his unmatched power in Legacy's Monsterverse.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I did a video on Godzilla vs. the Tailed Beasts, and you guys made it my biggest video ever. But
good for this man. Good for him. If it's his biggest video, I'm very happy for him.
But that's not all. I asked you guys to get the video to 1,000 likes and promised that if you did, I'd make a follow-up video. So today, I am keeping my word. That's right, in this video, we will be going over a battle of epic proportions. In other words, today we'll be exploring and breaking down Atomic Meltdown Godzilla versus Full Power Kurama.
Ooh, full power. Okay. This is full power Kurama. Okay, this is interesting. I'm excited because this is full power Kurama, and a lot of the statements we get for Kurama are when his chakra, like when he's separated into two pieces. So this is gonna be interesting. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Understanding for how this matchup will go, we will first need to go over the scaling. Before that, though, I'd just like to address something important.
Right.
In the previous Godzilla video, I had a lot of people request that I also cover Evolved Godzilla from Godzilla X Kong versus the Ten Tails. So I'll give you guys the same proposition I did before. If you get this video to 1,000 likes, I'll do that video as well.
How many likes does this video get? Not enough. Okay, we're liking it to try to get that video because that sounds interesting. Sounds very interesting. What is good, Crazy Grape? Welcome to the stream, brother. Currently, we're watching Sage of Thick Calves video, Godzilla vs. Kurama. He's using full power Kurama, which is goated as fuck. But yeah, welcome to the stream.
As well.
Actually, is it too loud? Crazy Grape, since you're in here, is it too loud? Like, how's the volume doing?
But for now, let's deal with the topic at hand. Atomic Meltdown Godzilla versus Full Power Kurama.
Yep.
First, let's discuss exactly what I mean when I say Atomic Meltdown Godzilla.
W Minato Glazer? Absolutely. Absolutely. W Minato Glazer. It's not even Minato Glazer. Minato's actually like really ridiculous. You know? Actually, I'm actually working on a Naruto video myself for my next video. It's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited for it.
Godzilla and Full Power Kurama. Atomic Meltdown Godzilla will be the form of Godzilla that disintegrated Ghidorah after merging with Mothra, and Full Power Kurama will simply be the one from the Nine Tails attack.
Yeah, this is about to get interesting.
Since the version of Kurama we saw basically through the whole series was only one half of his true form. Since
it's perfect, first time in forever. Dang, I see you, Crazy Grape. I see you, motherfucker. Appreciate you though. Appreciate you for coming out though. You a homie.
Minato split his chakra in half when sealing him away.
Yep.
With that established, how exactly?
So already, if you want my opinion, already, I think that Kurama's definitely got an advantage because in the guidebooks, Kurama stayed to be able to turn the world to ash, and that's half a Kurama. And we know that just doubling your chakra doesn't instantly mean you get 2 times stronger. I mean, it can be exponential depending on how good your chakra control is, and Kurama's extremely smart. Granted, he is a whole massive chakra, so I don't know if he uses... So it's unquantifiable if he uses actual chakra control. I would imagine he does, that he has incredible chakra control. You know, I would imagine so. He's lived for many, many years. Many, many years. But, I would imagine that Godzilla. He one-shotted King Ghidorah, which was what is he, multi-continental to low-tier planetary? Maybe. So probably Kurama wins, maybe? I'm not sure yet. Let's see.
exactly do they scale in these
Uh-huh.
forms? Well, the easiest way to do this will be by looking at where we got them last time
Right.
and their scaling, and then going from there.
Right.
We were able to get Godzilla up to between high relativistic and multi-times FTL by
Okay.
simply scaling his atomic breath to light speed. Since Kong
Okay.
is able to react to and dodge the atomic
Right.
breath, and Godzilla is able to combat Kong, it tracks that he should also be at that level if we scale the atomic breath that high.
That's if you scale it that high. There's multiple ways to scale the atomic breath. But I'm not necessarily against that way of scaling it to like relativistic to multi-times FTL. I'm not against it. It's fair, you know.
Now, I did explain last time that I do think there are some solid arguments against scaling his atomic breath to light speed, but for the sake of keeping things interesting, we will be starting from the highball interpretation we use.
Oh yeah, you need to. I haven't watched this vid, but got Kurama too. Yeah, because you need to do the highball interpretation. Because Kurama here. Okay, let me give you guys a speed scale for Kurama here, right? So Naruto with a little baby portion of Kurama's chakra against Haku was able to catch Haku in his light mirrors, right? Or not light mirrors, his ice mirrors. And the guidebooks, he stayed to move at the speed of light in his light ice mirrors. Straight up. And this isn't inconsistent because Anbu members are stayed to be able to move at the speed of light in the first fan book. And Itachi's Water Fang Bullet is also stayed to move at the speed of light. So there's consistency for baby Naruto, for literal like first arc of the series Naruto, while getting like a baby portion of Kurama's chakra scaling to FTL. And then Naruto gets multiple times faster as on the rooftop, he's able to fight a hatred amped Sasuke who in base can keep up with weightless Lee. And not only does he have the Sharingan amp, but he also has a hatred amp debatably because he's just hating Naruto for being stronger than him. And Naruto's still able to keep up with this Sasuke. Sasuke then gets a massive base amp where he's able to fold Naruto in base, you know. Especially as we see in the Rasengan Chidori clash, they stalemate, which means Sasuke's base is stronger than Naruto's. And then Naruto's KM0, as people call it, which is the baby Kurama chakra, literally starts speed blitzing this man. And he literally does the Sasuke combo, as people call it. So, and this is with baby levels of his chakra. So, and he's like multiple times FTL, if not potentially even higher. So it's like, what? Like that's like insane speed. And then you got the full Ninetales, not even half the Ninetales that Naruto had, the full thing. Yeah, no. That's crazy.
Used last time. But
Haku
what
said he was
changes
going to
from
kill
his standard
Naruto. Naruto just flipped 7 times before Haku reached him. Yeah. No, Haku's like, I gotta end this quickly if I'm not mistaken here. Let me see. I got you. Hold on. Let me see this. I'm going to quickly go and look at Haku. I'm gonna find Haku real quick. I'm looking at my scan server right now to see what I can find. No. Maybe no. Would it be under Team 7? Naruto base part 1? Here we go, KM0. Okay. So a lot of him like folding Sasuke, a lot of him folding Sasuke. We got some Orochimaru bullcrap. All right. Haku's like, what the hell's going on with this kid? Like, this doesn't make sense. He's like, he's so bloodthirsty. He deflected them without even touching. Where is... Does it not show... Is there any better ways to scale Haku? Hold on. Is there better stuff here? Where's do they seriously not have Haku here? Oh my god, they don't have Haku in Are you serious? Do I actually have to go look up the damn chapter? I have to go look up the chapter, boys. I have to go look up this dang chapter because my scan server does not have anything on Haku. Luckily, I know which chapter this is. Luckily, I know the chapter. All right, hold on. We're going on Mongo C123. It's 28 if I'm not mistaken, right? Oh, shoot. Oh, bugger. Okay, the chapter 28, am I correct? Yes, it is. Okay, let me switch over. Okay, good. You guys can see it. Welcome. So this is chapter 28. We're on Manga C right now. What? What happened to the screen? Hold on, let me fix this. Huh. If I do this. Okay, hold on. Let me. Boom. Full screen. Can I. No. Is there another. There's not. So I'd have to exit. Do I seriously have to exit out of this to show this screen? Like, actually? That's fucking bull. Okay. Okay. I guess we're not showing it today. It's fine, guys. I'll look it up while I'm watching this. While we're watching, I'll look it up. Don't worry, guys. I got y'all. I'll look it up while we're watching. Hold on. Let me get back to my Streamlabs. Okay, cool. All right, let's go. Oh, shoot.
Form to this one. Honestly, in terms of speed, not much. We can say this pretty concretely because he's just walking down Ghidorah like Drake walking down every false claim Kendrick made. There's no evidence that he...
There ain't no fucking way he just made that reference. Walking down him like you walking. That's crazy. No way.
Could even move noticeably faster than before, so we can't really boost his speed here. That being said, his speed will remain the same. So let's say somewhere between high relativistic and 4 times FTL combat speed to be as precise as possible.
Right.
But what about Kurama? It's honestly more of the same. We know that he can move at high relativistic to low FTL like Godzilla, since we see him reacting to...
Wow. Hold up. Only high relativistic to... Wow, he is lowballing Kurama beyond belief. Whoa, wait a minute. What is this lowball? Like, this is a crazy lowball. Holy crap. By the way, real quick, I did find it. Haku never actually states that he is going to like attack all out, but he does like make a mention of I've got to make it to the next mirror. Like, he's just so terrified of this kid that he needs to make it to the next mirror. And what on Naruto causing tears in universe? When does he do this? Is this in Boruto? If this is in Boruto, I have no opinion, only because of the fact that I don't read Boruto. Boruto sucks, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of it.
War arc, and his fight versus Minato doesn't really do anything additional for him. So that's where we will keep him at as well. In conclusion, Godzilla and Kurama in these forms should be pretty relative to one another, somewhere between high relativistic and low FTL.
I've already given my opinion on why I think this is like a low ball for Kurama, because of simply how fast like you can get they get these characters to. But you know what? It is what it is, you know?
This is arguably the area where these two get the biggest amps, and it makes sense when you think about it. More power should equate to more power output. And with these two, the power output is off the charts. But let's start with Godzilla. Last time,
Boruto goated? Boruto goated? I don't think so. I think Boruto's kind of mid. I might read it. I'm not sure yet.
To the statements about Godzilla's atomic breath being the most devastating weapon in nature and essentially being sub-atomization due to being a byproduct of nucleosynthesis, we were able to easily get Godzilla to a conservative range of high planetary to star level.
Hey, yo! Dang, in nature... Oh, is he talking about, comparative to, like, stars? Like, what does he count as nature?
You could take that first statement all the way to its furthest logical conclusion and say it's above things like quasars, supernovas, etc.
That's a little bit. I think that's a bit of a stretch, personally. Taking it all the way up to create quasars, supernovas, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I don't know about that one, but you know. Because what do we define as nature here? Like, space is defined as nature? Okay. I'm not 100% sure, but okay, sure.
However, I think it's more consistent for his scaling to have him in this range. But what about this version of Godzilla? Well, it's not entirely clear how much more powerful he gets in terms of attack potency, but he passively discharges enough energy with his EMP blast to tear pieces off of Ghidorah, who's easily a bare minimum of multi-continental and probably closer
Right.
to planetary plus.
Right.
He's then able to almost completely disintegrate Ghidorah and dispel his entire storm cloud, which has been calced to 20 kilometers wide. The force it would take to disperse this cloud has been calced to 84 teratons of force,
Right.
or, about 1.6 million times the force of the Tsar bomb, the
Pretty
most
good.
powerful bomb ever
Got it.
detonated. That alone.
Nah, that's actually that's pretty good. That is pretty dang good. Good for him. That's really good. Why am I getting pinged? Who the Oh. Oh, okay. Cool. All right, back to the video. I apologize about that. Someone, oh god, where's my cursor? There it is. Someone decided to ping me.
Gets this
Love when that
without
happens.
Country level, but that's not even considering the amount of force it took to take out Ghidorah. Whenever you consider the fact that the amount of force Ghidorah requires to move this massive storm cloud with him scales to about 28 petatons, or multi-continental, and
Pretty
we
good.
know that these titans tend to be able to handle the amount of power that they can output with their durability, with Godzilla actually being one of the only exceptions to this. This gets kind of crazy. This gets this blast between high multi-continental and low planetary.
That's fair.
Now, keep in mind, after this feat, his atomic breath is still considered to be his strongest weapon. So he now has 2 attacks in his arsenal that get him to or above planetary levels of force.
Yep.
But what about Kurama? How does his scaling change? Well, this is where his multiple planetary statements come into play.
Yup. Kurama has a lot of planetary statements, and then he scales somewhat off the 10 tails as well.
You can argue whether or not halved Kurama is planetary. It's no debate that full power Kurama is.
Without
We
doubt.
have several statements proving Kurama is planetary.
Even while half
Just
power.
take his multi-continental scaling we got last time and double it to get to planetary, because well, he literally has 2 times his old chakra. That said, both Kurama and Godzilla scale pretty easily to high planetary, with Kurama's Bijudamas and Godzilla's omnidirectional energy pulse, with Godzilla achieving even higher AP with his potentially star-level plus atomic breath.
So technically you could get Kurama higher if you want to assume, based on the wording of turning the world to ash, or would be potentially pulverization, or if it's using his Bijudama, that could be potentially vaporization. While it says turn the world to ash, most likely it's referring to his Bijudama, which should be vaporization. Some people argue it's pulverization, but it really depends. And that could get him all the way up to star level, so it really depends. Right, durability, okay.
When it comes to durability, both of these characters are absolute tanks.
Right.
Godzilla was already easily multi-continental in terms of durability, based on the fact that he's able to take shots from Ghidorah's gravity beams.
Right.
But now, in this form, those continental plus beams don't even leave a scratch.
Yep.
We literally see Godzilla walk through them like they're nothing. So, while it's impossible to put a precise number on it, it's safe to say that being able to easily walk through continental attacks should put Godzilla at least around planetary in terms of durability.
Yep.
Now, some people have pointed out that Godzilla was able to tank attacks from Kong's axe after he absorbed Godzilla's atomic breath, and asserted that this must mean his durability scales to his attack potency, or, high planetary to star level. The problem with that is the fact that we're not entirely certain if the way the energy is dispersed upon contact with the axe is focused enough to actually scale it to the same level of Godzilla's actual atomic breath. Essentially, because we see it sort of detonate in all directions, it's a bit...
Right. Yeah, so it's a little weird. We don't know if it's all like condensed, so
Dishonest to say that this is the same as one of his regular atomic breath blasts. It's also worth noting that this Godzilla is weakened from starvation, so
yeah.
it's unclear how powerful he actually is here. Therefore, we can't safely use that.
I wonder if you could use the fact that he tanked Mecha Godzilla's atomic breath that was able to overpower his own. So you might be able to use that.
As a proper power scaling chain. How about Kurama though? Well, to be honest, it's not entirely clear here either, but I think it's safe to say that his durability should be doubled since his chakra is doubled and, you know, he's literally just a chakra monster. You could argue that since he actually appears to double in size, his density would remain the same, rendering his durability the same. However, since we know that Kurama is highly intelligent and thus probably able to use his chakra to augment his defense,
Yeah.
like Shinobi can, giving him double the chakra can logically lead to a doubling of durability as well. So then, how durable was half-power Kurama?
Yes, he was very durable. He was able to endure Tail Beast attacks, and Tail Beast just got somewhat relative to their own Bijou bombs.
Well, while weakened, Kurama was able to survive attacks from the Ten Tails,
Uh-huh.
which is stated to be able to essentially terraform the planet. This same Ten Tails also displayed the ability to casually destroy entire mountain ranges on accident, and is stated to have shown a similar chakra signature to the entire collective chakra of the planet.
Yeah, that
We
do
also know that
that do happen quite a lot. That is the Ten Tails. The Ten Tails do go burr, you know? Welcome to the Ten Tails is like one of the strongest things in Shippuden. Like don't mess with it.
Bijou tend to scale at or slightly below the attack potency of their Bijou Damas, as Gyuki was hit with his own
Yep.
Bijou Dama and survived, although he did sustain massive damage.
Yeah.
So, since Kurama is easily planetary plus with his Bijou Damas, his durability should also scale to somewhere around the high multi-continental to planetary plus.
Yep.
And this means that these two monsters should be similar in terms of their durability as well, with an argument being able to be made for Godzilla having slightly higher durability, depending on how you interpret
Right.
the Kong axe stuff.
Right. The Ten Tails created the universe. Wait, was it stated that the Ten Tails created the universe? When was it stated there? That's an interesting statement. It's actually crazy. If let me put it like this: if that's an actual statement, that's actually wild. That's like crazy.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, since their
Uh-huh.
intellect obviously doesn't change with a power increase.
Yeah.
I just think it's worth quickly noting that Kurama is like literally a super genius and Godzilla is not. While having
Kurama knows freaking nuclear fission without being taught it. Of course he's a super genius. Like, how do you know nuclear fission and no one's taught it to you, bro?
solid strategy feats for a giant reptilian monster,
Yeah.
Godzilla never really displays any intellect feats on the level of a genius like Kurama. But
Yeah.
with all of that laid out, the stage is now set. Before we get into the way I think this battle will go, though, if you're enjoying yourself or maybe have learned something here, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe.
Yeah, guys, you should go check out his channel. Go subscribe, you know. His newest video, the Naruto Canon Explained, isn't doing too hot, so you know you guys should go check it out.
Button. You know, unless you sleep with your jeans on. If you sleep with jeans on, please just close the video and go to counseling.
Yeah, no. You need some help if you sleep with jeans on. Socks, it's okay, but jeans, no. Unless you're just too tired to change clothes, then maybe, you know. But only for naps. Only for naps.
But without any further, gosh.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But without any further ado,
Yo, how'd you not get copyright going for that? That's crazy.
let's jump into our matchup.
The battle. Okay, you guys ready for the battle? I'm ready for the battle.
Our battle begins at an empty battlefield hundreds of years before the Warring States era. Godzilla has found himself on a strange planet and begun to move towards a powerful energy signature as he's ready to take on any potential monster that he finds and establish his dominance as the king of monsters. Kurama simultaneously senses Godzilla's evil intent and heads his way to take on this powerful threat
Oh
that he's
crap!
never
They
detected.
going.
Eventually, these two forces of nature face each other down and ready themselves for a battle against arguably the strongest foes they've ever fought.
Right.
Atomic Meltdown Godzilla, Full Power Kurama. Who will come out victorious in this battle of mythically powerful beings? Off-rip, both Godzilla and Kurama in character would charge one another, but as they approach, Godzilla discharges a blast of powerful energy in all directions. Kurama sees this and skids to a stop, but the blast still makes its way to him. He blocks with his tail, but still sustains a little bit of damage. Suddenly, Godzilla bursts through his tails and tackles Kurama to the ground. Godzilla discharges another blast of energy, which severely damages Kurama's tails, but out of the smoke comes a Bijou Bomb, slamming into Godzilla's
Dang, that's
chest.
tough.
Godzilla is knocked on his back with a mark burned into his chest from the giant ball of insanely dense chakra. Kurama gathers himself and watches as Godzilla does the same, passively releasing yet another blast of energy. Kurama blocks it once again, but notices the blasts are getting stronger, and hypothesizes that this is gradually leading up to one mega blast, which leads him to decide he needs to end this battle quickly. Godzilla stands to his feet as Kurama begins charging up a massive Bijou Bomb, capable of putting out enough force to decimate a planet. In response, a trail of light begins working its way up from the base of Godzilla's tail, up his spine, and to his head as Godzilla charges his attack as well. But Kurama beats him to the punch. Upon reaching maximum power, Kurama fires his Bijou Bomb directly at the King of Monsters.
Does it? Hold on. Are you serious? Let me, Yo, hold on. Let me look. If that's true... Measurable amount of chakra and fears of natural energy. Attack knowledge. Range. Resurrection means the end of the cars. Okay. Okay, so that's a crazy statement. So the actual statement you're referring to is the progenitor of everything in existence. That is a crazy... Wow. I will need to look into that. That's a... Wow. Okay. Holy crap. That's a statement right there. Progenitor of everything in existence. A fragment of the god tree that gave birth to the universe? Is that same statement? I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it anywhere in this statement, but the progenitor of everything in existence is crazy. That's like actually wild. That's a wild statement.
As the ball of condensed chakra hurls its way through the air at relativistic speeds, Godzilla releases his own blast at the last second. The atomic breath penetrates and tears through the ball of chakra, detonating it upon impact. This explosion would absolutely be packing planetary levels of force, but it would be dispersed in all directions, slightly dampening its effects. This shockwave going off in Godzilla's face would certainly do massive damage to the king. But we have already established that Godzilla's atomic breath massively outscales the Bijou Bombs, so his blast would make its way through and tag the nine-tailed fox. As the smoke clears from the explosion, we'd see Kurama emerging, missing multiple tails and a big chunk out of his left side. He was able to dodge the light-speed atomic breath at the last moment, but not completely. He also suffered some damage from his own attack's explosion, but he is still standing. Kurama would look on as the dust settles, searching for Godzilla's presence. Then he would see the silhouette of a beast, severely wounded, staggering, but limping his way to his feet. Suddenly, the dust would clear with a massive shockwave. Godzilla would release yet another EMP, and this one more powerful than the last. The blast would hit Kurama, knocking him back, dealing critical damage. Kurama would think to himself, "This is bad. I have to think of something quickly." As he looked up from the ground, all he'd see is a flaming Godzilla limping his way toward him. He'd hear a charging sound as another blast comes his way. Kurama would then fire a Bijou Bomb and disperse the blast upon impact, but not completely.
Kurama should have a healing factor. At bare minimum, Naruto does. and that he gets from the nine-tailed chakra. So Kurama should have a healing factor. I don't know if that. I don't know 100% if that's for Kurama or if all Jinchuriki have that because of the tail beast, but I think he should have a healing factor.
Would then force his way to his feet determined, and scurrying backward, he would begin rapidly firing Bijou bombs at the King of Monsters. These weaker, quick-fire Bijou bombs would do next to nothing, though, as Godzilla's defense is far too high. Boom, 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 boom. Another blast would emit from the beast as he edges his way closer. Kurama would counter with more Bijou bombs to disperse the energy and protect himself, but the king would march on. Boom, 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 boom. Again, another blast dispersed by Kurama as he backs away from the walking nuke. But this time, one of the Bijou bombs would shake Godzilla, and he'd let out a screech. This one would hit him in the gills.
Oh.
We've seen many attacks not be able to do anything to the rest of Godzilla's body, but then be able to damage his gills fairly easily.
Oh.
Kurama's theory would have panned out, and now his strategy would be in full effect. Kurama's regeneration would have allowed for him to recover just
There it is. Kurama's regeneration would allow him to recover just enough.
enough of himself to gain back some mobility, so he would charge at the Titan. Godzilla, still shrieking in pain, would then turn to face Kurama as he dashes. The king would quickly charge up a beam of atomic breath and fire it at Kurama, but the nine-tailed fox would dodge. Simultaneously, he would then scrape his claws across the ground and throw a massive mound of dirt into the face of Godzilla, rendering him blind.
Yo, Kurama just him. When you actually think about Kurama, like the fact that he could strategize is kind of bullshit with how strong he is and how big he is. But no, he can like strategize really well.
The beam would continue firing blindly in all directions, so Kurama would temporarily get a bit of space before charging once again. Kurama, at full speed, would thrust his claws forward towards Godzilla's gills, his one weak point, approaching with a killing blow in mind. His strategy has worked, and he's mere feet away from dealing the finishing blow. Kurama won. Or so he thought. Right as he got close to Godzilla's weak point, the King of Monsters would whip around, slamming his massive tail into Kurama, knocking him to the ground. Before he could recover, Godzilla would pounce, pinning him to the ground. Panicked, Kurama would fire a Bijou bomb, which Godzilla, still with his face covered in dirt, would dodge. Godzilla would slam his foot onto the neck of the nine-tailed fox, and he would wonder, how could this be? How can he even see me? The QB's fatal flaw would be not knowing that even when Godzilla can't see, he has other ways of seeing. You see, in the MonsterVerse graphic novels, Godzilla has shown the ability to see while blinded. It seems unclear how exactly he does this, but most fans think it's the same way that snakes and other reptiles can see thermal signatures. But in the end, Kurama's plan would fail, and he would end up under the foot of the reptilian beast known as Godzilla. It's at this point I'm going to leave it up to you to see how this goes down. Either Godzilla can let out the final bit of stored energy in the form of an omnidirectional blast and nuke Kurama, or he can look down at him, roar, fire a blast into the air, and establish his dominance that way. I think both of these are in character, so either way you go, I'm fine with. But in this battle, Godzilla wins mid-difficulty. Mid to high difficulty.
I don't think so. I think Kurama could win that fight. Yeah, if he used like the more consistent FTL scaling, it'd definitely be more not Godzilla. Kurama would be quite a bit faster. But there is one. Can Kurama split himself into two? Wait, how can Kurama? The only reason he was split into two was because of the fact of Minato. Minato used the Reaper Death Seal. I don't think he could do that on the regular, because he doesn't have the Shadow Clone Jutsu. You know? Anyways, next video. This is by TG Thunder God. It's if Pain and Obito swap fights. From what it seems like, this is Pain from the Konoha Assault, and this is Obito from the War.
Or Thunder God here, back with a pretty
Here, let me...
What's going on, guys? TG or Thunder God here, back with a pretty interesting video. Today I am doing what if Obito and Pain swapped fights.
Wait, is this Orange Mask or is this Jubi, or is this in the fight with Orochimaru? Yeah, but that was like Four Tails Naruto. I don't know if actual Kurama could do that, or if that's just like one of the features of the cloak, you know?
The leader of the Akatsuki versus the Shadow Leader. I think there's a ton of succulent and juicy info to really get into for this discussion. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. Starting off, we have Kid Obito in the place of Nagato against Jiraiya Shadow Clone. I think this one is pretty free, especially if you go with the most peak version of
Oh, wow. This is what he's okay.
Obito that we see during the 3rd grade Ninja War. The one who was Chunin level without a Sharingan, then got a Sharingan and was able to fight Iwa Jonin. I think this one is pretty free for Obito. Now, it's kind of weird because Jiraiya does credit all 3 individuals for actually defeating his Shadow Clone, although he does dodge Yahiko's Water Style, and it's actually Nagato's Gale Palm that pushes Konan's paper into Jiraiya's chest. But I don't...
Yeah, it probably is a version 2 exclusive ability, which is really cool, by the way, but that it is unfortunate, you know? It is very unfortunate. You know? Anyways, back to the video.
I think like Nagato exhibiting the Gale Palm, which is like a C rank jutsu, is really that crazy to the point it just overshadows anything Obito can do. Not saying Obito's stronger, I'm just saying I think he's stronger than a Gale Palm with his Sharingan and stats respectively. So I don't really see a reason Obito with Yahiko and Konan as support couldn't just beat this same version of Shadow Clone. He's a mid Chunin to even low Jonin if you want to wank it type of fighter at this point. Next up we have Kid Nagato.
You could argue he might be high level Jonin only because of the fact of he like scales somewhat relative to Kakashi, like pre Sharingan, and Kakashi and him are able to fight this like elite this powerful Jonin from the Stone Village. So you could put him on Jonin level. That's not even like, you know, I would say he's definitely on Jonin level.
Versus the Hidden Stone Ninja, and I'm gonna be honest, Kid Nagato's kind of cracked. He has all 5 nature releases, and again, it was his jutsu that was the main factor in actually taking down Jiraiya Shadow Clone. Nagato also showing the ability to slaughter an Iwa Chunin off screen, but you do know this was an involuntary response. However, Jiraiya does make it a point to try and help Nagato train his Rinnegan a bit, and it's kind of hard to judge how strong a Jiraiya Shadow Clone is in comparison to people like Kako, who's just noted to be skilled in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu, and is just generally an extremely powerful Iwa Nin. Elite Jonin are generally a step above every other village in terms of Jonin. So I kind of
typically how like Konoha works is at least how I've always interpreted is their Chunin are typically as strong as the average Jonin from other villages. So
do lean towards Nagato's feat of just defeating a Jiraiya clone, as he just has arguably better support in the form of Kakashi. It's unclear if Nagato would be able to see Taseki, though that's the Iwa Jonin who pretty much can just turn invisible and camouflage. The reasoning for this is because Nagato's Rinnegan isn't in full bloom yet, like he doesn't have access to all of the abilities. This is more so later on. Nagato has 2 pretty much awakenings with his Rinnegan. The first was when his parents had died, and the second big one was actually when Yahiko had died. So things like the Rinnegan being able to sense barriers and whatnot are harder to just give to that first awakening Nagato. You know what I mean? It's not quite as clear cut, but if you give him the benefit of the doubt, then none of the Iwa Jonin should really just give him as much trouble, especially if he does still have Kakashi as support. Next up, we have the Mist Anbu that were chasing down Rin that Obito had taken down when he went mad after seeing Kakashi kill Rin. We know this unit is comprised specifically of Jonin and Anbu Black Ops, along with the fact that this unit all has like matching faceplates. What's interesting is that this unit could be comparable in strength to the Undertaking Squad or the Hunter Nin that Haku was masquerading as. We see that in the beginning of part 1 that it's noted that all of the Hunter Nin have the same mask. However, more interesting is that in the Utsukata filler, which is actually canon to the Naruto Shippuden anime, as Naruto directly interacts and recognizes Utsukata later on in the war, there actually are Hunter Nin that are sent down with different masks to actually track down Utsukata, the Six Tails, and Cherokee. The Undertaker Squad from Prestige alone was kind of convincing Kakashi that Haku was stronger than him. That's obviously a different group since they all have matching different faceplates, but they are comprised of a blend of Anbu Black Ops and Jonin. With this group actually intending to attack the Leaf with the 3 Tails, so Obito actually took down like a group of shinobi that were just going to attack an entirely different village, who if you did kind of want to extend that over and say they also threw in some Hunter.
Yeah, no, Obito was actually kind of cracked. A lot of people don't know this. Obito's cracked. Same with Kid Nagato, by the way, but they're both cracked.
you could have a large-scale group of Zabuza to Kakashi level shinobi. Now, that's the most generous interpretation. That's assuming that some Hunter Nin were in the group, which there could be since they did actually want to retrieve Rin's corpse after Kakashi had actually killed her. With the whole idea behind the Undertaking Squad being that they pretty much destroy the body and take the head to just make sure the jutsu or secrets that lie inside the individual's body isn't just handed over to the enemy. Obviously, we don't know for certain.
Just got here. What I missed? Welcome, Anime Monarch. So what you missed is we just watched a video from Sage of Sick Calves of Godzilla versus Kurama, Full Power Kurama versus Burning Godzilla from the movies. Basically the one who folded King Ghidorah. He put Godzilla as the winner. I don't personally agree, but you know, it is what it is. But now we're watching What If Pain and Obito swap fight. So currently this is Teenage Nagato in Obito's position against the Hidden Mist Ninja. The Hidden Mist Jonin and Anbu.
I just think it was interesting to note, if you go at Nagato before he actually just has his second blossoming, which sounds weirder than it is, he's literally feetless. We don't really have anything for him, and there's not really much to go off of. If you do have him enraged when he took down Hanzo, this is a pretty clear like no diff for him.
Yeah.
Get Almazo, like nothing should really prevent him from taking down all these shinobi in a similar manner, especially if he summons the Soul Dragon. All the same conditions apply. So even if you gave this group the best interpretations, like I mentioned before, which it probably isn't the case, it still really wouldn't mean much to Nagato at this point. So assuming he's in that enraged state, he probably just clears. If he's not in that second blossom, he actually may just not clear this area. We don't really know how.
Yeah, unfortunately we just don't know how strong this version of Nagato is. I wish we got more feats from him.
How strong that version of Nagato is, so it's kind of harder to use him. You probably wouldn't need the Soul Dragon in all honesty. Like the Geto Mazo itself should just be able to wipe here. No real issues. Next up we have Obito versus Hanzo. Now the version of Obito we're going to be looking at is the version with like the Guru Zetsu outfit. Since this is the version that actually interacts closest to this form of Nagato. This Obito is the one with the Guru Zetsu outfit, pretty much amping his wood style. He can use wood style without it, but it does seem like the added bonus of having Guru on him allows him to just protrude more wood from him and allow Obito to use it much more extensively. For example, if you actually look at that like spiral of trees, all of that is just protruding from Obito's arm. So even though he does have wood style generally, it does seem like the suit is just amplifying his wood style capabilities in a similar manner to when Yamato was wearing it. On top of this, Obito at this point does know the Uchiha Forbidden Jutsu, 6 pads jutsu, such as the light and shadow style, which I'm going to talk about why that's important in a couple different matchups, but kind of similar to Obito versus the Hidden Mist Shinobi. There's nothing really here that suggests that Obito would struggle too much with what Nagato faced. The only possible issue here is obviously Hanzo. This is the point in Hanzo's life where he does seem to just shift his shinobi ways and values into that version that we see in the war arc, but he probably hasn't done it enough or
not much. Yeah, TG just spitting facts. Right now he's just factual. They're like these are just, you know, he is spitting bars right now, you know? Anime Monarch, you don't understand. He's spitting bars.
Been in that mind state long enough for it to actually affect his strength. So this could very well be a prime version of Hanzo that we're dealing with. The Hidden Rain and Leave Anbu really aren't going to be presenting that many issues for Obito. It's really, can Hanzo capitalize on what Obito is doing with maybe Buse and some of the poison cloud that he uses? For example, in character, Hanzo will just spew out a poison cloud and fight inside of it while his opponents are paralyzed. So you have to ask yourself, does Hanzo defeating 3 weaker versions of the Sannin really give him a pass here? In my opinion,
maybe not
really, mostly due to the fact that Obito at this point should be somewhat close to the version that fought Minato, which is the same version that has
that's crazy. You could that's actually wild. You can unironically scale him somewhat relative to Minato. That's funny.
All the statements about Naruto needing the Nine Tails power.
Yeah, no, that's funny as hell. Ain't no way.
To master it, yada yada yada, in order to fight that version of Obito. There are some points you can argue, like Obito maybe not being as refined with his jutsu, or not having complete mastery over Kamui yet, which while I think is fair, his strength should mostly be the same. He has mastered all the 6 pads jutsu or has learned it, plus has far more wood style than he would normally to kind of make up the difference. Hanzo's large-scale poison via Buse, if he does decide to use it, really wouldn't present that many issues for Obito, and that is how Hanzo likes to fight. He likes to spread the poison and then fight inside the poison mist. Obito could just use wood style to restrain the threatening creature or Hanzo himself. Nothing in Hanzo's arsenal is really that threatening, and he should be coming in somewhat close to the version that fought Minato. Even if you think he's a bit weaker, just him being comparable would already put him a good tier above those 3 versions of the Sannin that Hanzo just scales him up. And again, even if you think Obito isn't used to his abilities, which is a very fair take, he has access to 6 paths jutsu and wood style to kind of make up that difference.
He never really explained what 6 path light and dark side. If he's talking about what I think he is, then that's pretty big.
Next up, we have Pain versus Minato during the Ninetales attack.
Oh, Pain's getting destroyed. Oh no, poor Pain.
This is rather interesting since this version of Minato should be a bit fatigued or physically worn down, as he had just been constantly suppressing the Ninetales through Kushina's childbirth, which is kind of important since for first-time mothers, childbirth can go from 12 to 24 hours. So Minato would have had to have been suppressing the Ninetales for a prolonged period of time, as that's when it's weakest, and that's when the Ninetales was fighting to break out of its seal. Now, this version of Minato just has better implications for where he is strength-wise than Pain. Whether you think he's like KCM 1 level, KCM 2, somewhere in the middle, these ranges do put him in good standing to have the edge on Pain.
You can actually scale him potentially to KCM 2 just by like Naruto deflecting all the Biju bombs, and Kakashi thought he was actually Minato, so he believed Minato could do the same. I don't know if Minato knew Izanagi by this point. He might have, but it's difficult to say.
That Minato's like sub-stage mode Naruto level. By all means, Pain wipes, we can keep it moving. But there is a bit of basis to suggest Minato did improve from his Jonin counterpart that's more consistently compared to Naruto's KCM 1 or QB Chakra mode. I've mentioned these in other videos, so I won't proceed to beat a dead horse down. Interesting point my buddy Sage of Thick Calves brought up in his Minato video. Highly recommend. Check that out. Is that Minato's name is written on the scroll contract with the Toads as 4th Hokage, which does cement that Minato would have been improving past his Jonin stage, as he would have gone through the Toad training and actually gotten the Toad summonings like Yamabunta when he was actually Hokage, which makes sense, as this would be why his Sage mode really wouldn't be as refined as someone like Naruto, as he just didn't have enough time to training it, balancing that in his Okage duties. The upgrades don't stop there for Minato, however, as there is a
oh no, not more upgrades. What are all these Minato? What are all these Minato upgrades? Jesus, like look how long this section is. I don't know if you guys can see it. This section's like a whole like 7. It's like a whole couple minutes. Like this whole section, Jesus.
That I recently came across in Databook 2, specifically the mini directory, which is just a blob of kanji in the back of Databook 2, which remarks Minato, the yellow flash of Konoha, an absolutely unavoidable blade that moves at the speed of light. A technique that shines brightly on the battlefield, a feat, the dazzling name on the street is the former nickname of the 4th Hokage, which also does help this moniker change argument. So if you go off this idea, Jonin Minato, KCM 1, or even some version below, with Hokage being a step above that, it doesn't look too good for Pain. And the thing is, it's not like...
Yeah, the Minato upscale always goes crazy. Minato is like like a really crazy character that people just downplay. I might have to do a whole video putting Jonin Minato against people. You know, this man's kind of crazy. Or maybe Hokage Minato, who knows? This man just goes crazy. What can you say? What can you say? Nothing.
Like Pain doesn't have options in this scenario. Pain has such a wide array of jutsu. Like, he has a lot he can do against Minato. One of the more interesting win cons, if you were going to, like, ask me to argue for Pain, is that Pain uses the Rainmaker jutsu, where Pain creates rainfall from rain clouds that he forms with his chakra. Each and every raindrop is linked directly with his senses. It's implied Pain is the one who actually figured out Obito's ability, as Obito is the one who uses Kamui while it's actually raining in the Hidden Rain Village, which is how Conan was essentially able to figure out that 5-minute timer. Pain would have just had more accurate measurement of what Obito can do. And this could play similarly into Minato with his FTG marking, as the rain is linked directly to Pain's senses. And it's not like Pain has to be present where the rain is. Pain actually just leaves this jutsu active even when he's out of the village, which is pretty insane. The name of the game for Pain is that he just can't hit Minato. Like Bansho Tenin, Shinra Tensei, these attacks, while maybe being effective, Minato's either going to body flicker FTG out the way and systematically pick apart Pain. He can either just teleport them around, and after he takes down the animal path, which will present problems as these are a bunch of...
Yeah, it do happen. Minato just does Minato things. It's like, what do you do against Minato? Minato's really difficult to fight against just because of his FTG and his like crazy level reaction time. Because funny fact, you can actually scale Minato's like base reaction time, even in Sage mode. You can scale like his reaction time to like lower end, like higher, like high Kage level to like low 6 paths characters level. As you know, in base, him and Kakashi are able to fight Black Zetsu, who's like clinging to Obito's body. And then also in I don't know if that's Sage Mode or if that's base Minato, but one of them is able to like intercept Madara's Truth Seeking Orbs, which is still crazy.
Large scale summons that maybe he
Minato doesn't even have to FTG away from to avoid Chewbacca Tensei. He just gotta guide Korowet. That's mean. That's mean. Crazy great. Wow, that's funny though.
could summon Gamabunta to counteract. If
Yep.
Gamabunta in this scenario isn't, dealing with a hypothetical Ninetales at the same time.
Yep.
Once the animal pad does fall, the Pains will not be able to summon themselves to a different location or have themselves summoned, along
Yep.
with the animals just outright disappearing. The main issue for Minato is just outright taking down the Pains, who are notoriously durable. I'm actually of the opinions that each of the Paths of Pain, or at least the Diva Path, have just straight up Sage Mode physicality. While you could infer this off their ability to kind of throw down with Sage Mode level users and hand-to-hand combat,
Right.
something I want to bring attention to is the Black Belted Blades, which I'm going to talk about a bit more in another section, but the main thing I want to know about these blades, specifically when Pain uses them, is that they're actually ridiculously durable. And not only are they durable, they're ridiculously hard to break. The only people who have been shown in the manga to actually snap these rods are Sage Mode Jiraiya, Sage Mode Naruto, and Pain himself. Characters like Kakashi only snap the rods in the anime. The same thing Hinata when she has a little "I love you" moment to Naruto. In the manga against Kakashi, Kakashi actually never is able to snap the rod. It's lodged in his shoulder and he actually just backs out of it, compared to the anime where he just breaks it from the side. And in Kakashi's case, he clearly would have tried from the way he's gripping the rod. Like, I don't know why he's gripping another man's rod like that, but
hey, yo, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? No, you can't be doing Kakashi like that. You can't catch Kakashi in 4K like that. No, that's wild. No. You can't be catching Kakashi in 4K like that. No. No. Why do you say it? Yeah, exactly, Crazy Great. Why do you say it like that? No. Don't say it like that. Never say it like that. No. He might be reading Make Up Paradise, but he ain't like that.
I might just be me. It might just be me.
Nah, it's 100% you, dog. No, that's 100% you. No. Don't say it like that.
Black Belted Blades are actually extremely difficult to even break. So it actually is a feat, since we haven't seen weaker characters actually display the ability to break them. And they actually are ridiculously durable. An example of this being when Four Tails Naruto actually powers up after Naruto is on the ground and, like, pretty much, he has this rod stabbed on his legs and arms and stuff like that. We actually do see that the rods aren't even destroyed from Naruto powering up. They just fall off the Four Tails body. This being relevant because we see that when Jinchuriki power up, it just kind of negates Jutsu, like B sealing in the war. So snapping or even outright destroying a Black Belted Blade is actually kind of a feat in Naruto, which is really weird that most people don't bring it up. Even against the Edo Jinchuriki, like, one of the blades has like a Rasengan pressed on it and it's only cracking a little bit, and Naruto has to use a double Rasengan.
Trying to take my boy Kakashi out of context. Nah, that is crazy. Nah, you can't be doing Kakashi like that. Nah, don't do our boy Kakashi like that. Never do him like that.
Rasengan to actually destroy the small version that was lodged in Han. So Pain's physicality is pretty insane, actually. I think it's kind of underrated. And I mean, this is the same person who can just outrun Six Tails Naruto, handle the recoil being thrown back at him from Six Tails Naruto, eat a Bijou Bomb to the face from Six Tails Naruto.
He did tank a Six Tails Bijou Bomb. That is a great feat. He did something that Orochimaru couldn't. Even with the Rashomon, even with the 3 Rashomon gates, Orochimaru was like, oh shit, that's a dangerous.
Naruto. So this is definitely going to be an issue for Minato. Now, most people have brought up the Minato one-shot and have brought up the fact that Minato has clashed with the Bijou Bomb like 4,000 times. I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I did talk about Minato versus Pain in my Pain versus the Hokage video. So if you're more interested in this matchup, I will link that because I just hate repeating myself like this in videos. It is presented that Minato is the one who won that clash, as otherwise the Ninetales would have just outright taken over Kushina and rampaged across the village. And no one at the village at that time, maybe say here's an...
Also, funny enough, Minato was not only poisoned during that. Don't think that Sasuke's Amaterasu travels or not. Do I think it travels? It's yes and no. It depends on how you interpret it. We see that people like Naruto are able to, like, put their hands up and block it, but that was base Naruto, by the way. So I think it definitely does travel. But I think it travels invisibly. Like, you can't see it unless you can see chakra until it actually appears on you. Or it, like, appears potentially, like, right in front of you. Maybe. Who knows? It's difficult to really say. It's really difficult to say, only because we don't get to see it as much as travel as much. But there's some evidence that it can travel. There's some evidence that maybe it just appears on you. Because the Raikage does dodge it, so it depends.
Would have really been able to restrain a full QB. Minato,
I'm personally opinion that there's different versions that Sasuke uses. Oh yeah, by the way, right here, Minato was in fact impaled by Kushina, straight up just impaled. You know, it's like, this is crazy.
doing this with a small portion of his chakra while having Kushina's version 2 arm lodged through his torso does have good AP implications if you just go off the idea that this impartial full QB Bijou Bomb scales above more partial variations that we see throughout the show, like the 4 Tails Bijou Bomb or 6 Tails Bijou Bomb. If you didn't really like that argument, you could also just say Minato goes into Sage Mode to amplify his AP by a pretty significant margin, as Sage Mode is just a fusion of your chakra and nature energy, so the buff would be pretty insane. Now, I don't personally rep Minato Sage Mode. I think it's kind of doo-doo water. Minato makes this self-admission that it takes him way too long to charge up the nature energy, and the Sage Mode runs out just as quickly. But to play devil's advocate, taking too long to charge up energy is relative to Minato's speed and how long Minato thinks is a long time.
Yeah.
It actually may not be that long, and it may last a bit longer as well. Like, we don't know necessarily how long Minato's like gauging this, so it could be a bit longer. Again, I personally don't rep it, but there is that argument. So Minato does have better implications on what he can do, but I think that
Minato is he's definitely strong, you know. As for Amaterasu, just real quick, there's evidence that it travels, you know. There's evidence that Sasuke can launch Amaterasu and it travels, and then he can use Kagutsuchi to manipulate it. If it ended in part 1, probably mountain level, and then you could still argue FTL based on Haku's statements. No, if you look at the actual can I get the actual scan? Naruto actually puts his hand up to block it. Like, he puts his hand up to block it, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder if I can get that scan real quick, or if it'll take too long. I wonder if I can get that scan up, or if it takes too long. Let me see. Naruto Base Part 2. Or is it more just I think it just probably take too long for me to get it, but country level, yeah, country level makes sense, you know, Shikaku. The only thing is we don't have Bijou Bomb statements, but you do have some mountain level feats. I believe Gamabunta's Toad Flame Bob's mountain level. I believe. So it depends.
The biggest hurdle he has to get over is actually just damaging Pain.
Yeah.
And being able to permanently put down the
I think it could damage Pain only because he was going to damage the third Raikage back during the war. And A was considered the strongest in the village, so he should scale above the likes of Gyuki, who can tank his own tail beast bombs. He also scales above the third Raikage, who was able to cut off multiple Gyuki's tails. So he should just scale above Bijou at that point, and Minato was gonna hurt him with a fucking kunai. So it's like, you know, what do you expect?
Paths of Pain. But if you do think his AP just goes that high, he really shouldn't have an issue. None of the techniques really should be tagging him. So I think Minato does get the pass on this one. And I mean, at the end of the day, Minato watched Naruto fight Pain.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, you know that Obito guy, the guy I fought and just beat? You're going to need a lot more power to just beat him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then that's obviously confirmed multiple times later on. That being the QB's chakra, that being higher variations. Wherever you think that is exactly, you know, that's fair. It just is a level beyond what Naruto should be. Next up, we have Obito versus Jiraiya in the Rain Village.
Obito should win this fight. Well, it's a 1v1. Obito should be on Pain's level at bare minimum. Like, there's a contention between Itachi, Obito, and Pain, who's the strongest of the Akatsuki. Jiraiya said that with his ninjutsu being negated against the 3 paths of pain, that he wouldn't be that he would die, but in 1v1s he should win. Oh, yo, is that the Thunder God? Yo, what's up, Thunder God? Why hear my voice? Wait, huh? No, we're reacting to what if Pain and Obito swap places. I'm quickly going over the fight in my head of Orange Mask Obito versus Sage Jiraiya. It's actually not a bad fight because, yeah, welcome TG. It's not an actual bad fight, as Jiraiya implies that he could have beaten the Paths of Pain, like at least the 3 weaker Paths of Pain on his own if his ninjutsu wasn't, you know, being negated. And he says he could beat him in 1v1s, and it's debatable whether or not Obito is actually stronger than Pain. Potentially, it really depends on how you view some of the chapters and how you view Pain height statements. As Itachi was, like, people still debate like Itachi versus Obito, but Itachi versus Pain. So he's in that level. So you actually might be able to argue Jiraiya might be able to take down Obito. It's just how he reacts to Kamui. The toes on his shoulders are good. Frog Song is definitely a win con because Obito can't beat Frog Song. There's nothing he could do about it. So Jiraiya definitely does have his win cons, but I think Obito probably wins the fight more likely than not.
And I think it's a pretty bad stomp.
But that's just pretty bad stomp. It's crazy. Fair enough, I guess. You know, Obito is definitely like no joke.
I'm not gonna lie. There's no real problems for Obito in this exact
Mm-hmm.
situation. Nothing Jiraiya has starting off in base is remotely threatening to him.
Right.
I don't think Sage Mode is necessarily that much of a conversation. You have a guy who's a Minato level threat versus a guy who just isn't on Minato's level. It's a pretty big.
Like, you could definitely argue that it's a stomp, but in my personal opinion, I think Frog Song might be an issue. And the toes on Jiraiya's shoulders are definitely smart, so they might be able to do something, you know. Kamui is definitely an issue, though, like a huge issue that Jiraiya has to overcome. I don't know if he can overcome it. He might be able to figure it out, though. Who knows? He might be able to figure it out. At least the toes on his shoulders might be able to, because Jiraiya's kind of a dunce at points.
Big power gap here. Jiraiya would never be able to escape from Obito's like space-time ninjutsu. So
Right.
even if he just had
Reverse summoning. Reverse summoning could work because that's a space-time ninjutsu. Like, the toes could, like, he might be able to reverse summon himself back to Mount Miyaboku.
Paw with him and like ran away or just started firing jutsu while charging up the Gemma Rincho frog ninjutsu, the fight just wouldn't last that long. Now, I don't want to just say Obito BFR, and I am going to talk about some of Obito's different abilities in one of the later matchups in the video because it becomes a lot more relevant, but I just will say if Jiraiya starts this fight out in base, there's absolutely no hope.
Oh, no, if it's base Jiraiya, he gets, like, clapped, like, high key. Obito just, like, solos. It's, like, not even crazy. It's crazy how, like, powerful Obito is. Obito's like, nah. He's just him. He is absolutely him. Don't mess with Obito. Seriously. Right.
Obito just is gonna instantly ragdoll him.
Yep.
I feel as if we don't need to spend too much time on this little point right
Oh,
now.
no, not
So
really.
I'm gonna keep it moving. Next up, we have Pain versus Conan, and I don't know.
Isn't Kamui a sealed dimension? I don't know. I actually don't know about that. I really don't know about that. Is it stated to be a sealed dimension? And is it stated to be a sealed dimension? If it's stated, Pain versus Conan. GG easy. Pain might be able to survive the paper bombs. Maybe. It depends. If Kamui is a sealed dimension, then maybe. I don't know.
I don't know why I segued into this. Like, this was a more interesting matchup. I'm just going past this. I'm sorry, Conan. You didn't deserve this. You didn't deserve to be put up here. Pain would either just chakra fatigue Conan or just blow away all her paper bombs.
Yeah, Chaotic Shin. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. Chaotic Shinra Tensei go burr. You know, Chaotic Shinra Tensei is what it is. Conan's not really doing much to Pain, unfortunately. Conan's like, you know, one of the weaker members of the Akatsuki. She's still an Akatsuki, as Obito stated, but she's still, in my opinion, one of the weaker members. And Pain has stated multiple times to be like the strongest member of the Akatsuki if we don't include Obito, because we don't know about Obito. It's debatable if you can include Itachi on that list, but out of everyone else, he's still the strongest member.
bombs via Shinra Tensei.
Yeah.
Even if she had the like ocean of
What's the
paper
next
bombs,
fight?
he could just focus
Oh.
on chakras and Diva Path and do that
Obito versus Sage Naruto's gonna be interesting.
large variant to just pretty much send it all away. You know? So I don't think that's really gonna be too much of an issue for her. So yeah, I think Paige got this. I'm sorry, Conan. Now next up we have an actually really fascinating match.
Oh shit! Can't stay for the whole stream, my man, but I appreciate you reacting. Gotta watch later for sure. And also, holy crap, we got our first ever real donation. Like, this is the first ever donation I've ever gotten. Thank you, Thunder God. I really appreciate you, bro. $9.99. I appreciate it. Holy crap. That's amazing. Everyone, thank Thunder God. Thunder God's the homie. Don't let Thunder God hear you say that. Nah, fuck the Kakuzu. Fuck Kakuzu stands. Nah, Kakuzu stands are crazy. Kakuzu stands are crazy. Kakuzu sucks. Nah. I gotta make a whole video on why Kakuzu sucks. Nah. Thank you, Grape, for giving me an idea. I'm gonna make a whole video on why Kakuzu just sucks. Kakuzu is trash. High key. Don't even at me. Kakuzu sucks. Kakuzu really just sucks. Like, in terms of Akatsuki, he's like bad. He's really bad. Nah, don't let me hear you say Kakuzu don't suck. He bad. He got beat by base Naruto beginning of freaking He got beat by fatigue Naruto at the beginning of Shippuden, like right after completing the Wrestling Shuriken. It wasn't even fully completed yet. He's just bad. Anyone who says otherwise is just dumb. I'm dead serious. Okay? I've ranted about Kakuzu long enough. I'm gonna make a whole video on why Kakuzu sucks.
I think this one's actually really good. This is Orange Mask Obito in Pain's position,
right?
Versus Sagemo Naruto, the Toad Trio, and Ma and Pa.
Right.
Now this is actually fascinating because.
So this fight's interesting, and I'll give my opinion real quick before I fully watch the video. What he says. My opinion is that Naruto's gonna have definitely a tough time. Naruto's not stupid, right? And Frog Kumite might actually hit Obito because Obito might not see it coming. That Choji level fodder for real? Yeah, for real. But Frog Kumite is definitely something Obito's got to watch out for because he can't actually see it. So Frog Kumite might actually just like hit Obito and may not one-shot him, but it may do significant damage. Like, honestly. Frog Kumite does do wonders. You know?
Obito does not like large groups of people. He does not like fighting them because even though he's never really in immediate danger due to Kamui's passive nature, it always makes it that...
Oh shit, I am so sorry, gentlemen. I'm getting a knock at my door. I have to be right back. I will be right back. Okay, guys? Sorry about I'm back. I am so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Door-to-door salesman who did not want to take no for an answer. You know how it is. But what I will say is I found that I made myself a coffee earlier and I didn't even finish it. So we've got coffee now. W, can I get a W for coffee in the chat? W's for coffee. Coffee is life. Holy crap. Okay. Alrighty. So we're back. Sorry about that. Hope everyone's good. So yeah, let us get back to watching. As I said before about the Pain versus Sage Naruto. If it's just Obito, he's gonna have a bit of a hard time because there's a lot of people he has to contend with. Contend with Ma, Pa, Naruto, and all three of his summons. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be that's definitely gonna be hard. Not easy.
He has trouble just outright securing the kill because random people are always interfering. A good
Yeah.
example of this is Obito versus Fu and Torne. Now, I will say this, first of all, this fight is just garbage to use to try and scale against Obito.
Right.
Obito is absolutely playing around here as he makes Fu and Torne.
Tell me that you warmed it up at least. Of course I warmed it up. What do I look like? I warmed it up in the microwave and then I put my creamer in it and you know, it tastes delicious. I made it like right before I made it like before I started streaming. So unfortunately it was sitting there for a little over an hour. Can't rep you if you drink cold coffee. The only time I've ever drink cold coffee is on a really hot day and it's a nice coffee from Starbucks. Other than that, I don't drink cold coffee. Most of the time if it's at my house, I drink hot coffee because I got air conditioning. I ain't that broke. I'm not so broke to just drink cold coffee. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? Nah, man, we don't drink cold coffee here. Not in this household.
Absolute jokes. When purposely allowing Torne to pass
Yeah.
through him and tag Fu, it's also clear Obito never intended to kill either of them, as
Right.
he keeps both of them hostage and under Genjutsu following this fight for the sake of gathering intel.
Yep.
Obito did not need to touch Torne and break his arm off, but instead he opted to do that for the sake of capturing him and extracting intel.
Yep.
Obito does have other jutsu. He can shoot shuriken out from the space-time dimension from a distance. This not being exclusive to shuriken, but he also does have massive.
Must have fun to have AC. Yeah, it's actually really great. You know, I'd recommend you get AC. No, let me. I'm sorry, Crazy Craig. I'm so sorry, my guy. Oh, why am I bullying my chat? No, I'm sorry. I apologize. That was funny though. But no, Orange Mask Obito's got crazy AP. Like a lot of his feats in the war. Yes, he's powered up by the Renegon, but a lot of the abilities he doesn't really show a lot of 6-path abilities. A lot of the abilities in the war, except for like the Renegon exclusive ones, he should still have here, which is actually crazy.
Some kunai that are directly compared to Madara's second Magatana beats. And I will say, if you don't think Obito gets that much of a stat boost from the Renegon, and it doesn't shoot him up an entire tier in terms of strength, which I do think there is an argument to be made about that, considering where Obito's lore kind of places.
It should boost him up quite a fucking big. Beginning of part 2 Naruto stronger than One Tails Cloak Naruto? Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. Well, it depends. If you believe Kakashi got stronger over the 2.5 year time skip, then most definitely. Because he'd definitely scale above. Is that the Eternal Flame? Hold up. I just saw Eternal Flame. Is that the Cogna? Bastard? How you doing, sir? Piece of dog shit. How you doing, my good sir? It's good to see you, Eternal Flame. The goat is here. My good friend, Eternal Flame. I keep on calling him Cogna because that's why I know him on. That's why I know. That's the name I know him as. But this is the Eternal Flame, baby. You don't fuck with the Eternal Flame. What's up, man? Do you think that Obito's Kami is amped by the Renegon? Do I think it's amped by the Renegon? Maybe, because we know that Shinobi amp their ninja tools with chakra, so there's potential that it was just amped by chakra, and we know the Renegon should amp your chakra massively. The reason why he couldn't handle 2 Renegon is because it was too strong for him. He couldn't handle the power of 2 Renegon, so there's like potential. There's genuine potential, you know? English left shadow. Oh. Did I leave? Mi no hablas inglés? Tienda pendejo. No, let me stop. I know a little bit of Spanish, so I know a little bit. But I just swore in Spanish, by the way. Pendejo, if I'm not mistaken, is like something like fucker. No, pendejo is ass, I think. Something along those lines. It's a swear word. Something. It's definitely something. But yes, there's an argument to be made that the Kamui Shuriken definitely amps his stats. Or not the Kamui Shuriken amps his stats. What am I saying? Oh my god. This is why I need coffee, guys. My brain ain't braining. But no, there's definitely a argument to be made that Obito might just be amping his Kamui Shuriken with his chakra. So, yeah.
Him. Obito may actually just be able to cook people by shooting kunai out of the Kamui dimension. They're presented as being on par with Madara's Sekamagatana beads, as Naruto's Kyuubi chakra kind of deals with them in a similar way. So it just seems.
Oh, by the way, Eternal Flame, what we're doing is reacting to Thunder God's video that he did. Was this video made, actually? About a month ago. It is Pain. What if Pain and Obito swap fights? And actually, the GOAT TG actually came in here and, you know, dropped some money. We appreciate the GOAT that is TG. He is the GOAT.
Seems that they're relative in terms of strength and speed. These same beads that they're on a similar level to can actually just bypass.
Oh, you're reacting to that bastard? Yeah, I'm reacting to that bastard. He's a bastard, but he's good at scaling. No. Nah, he's great. He's great. Bro hopped in, dropped $10 and left like a Chad. Nah, he's a straight up Chad. Would love to do a collab with him one day, you know?
Gaara sand and break through it entirely when him and Ono keep doing that like sand stone golem defense. And not only does it break through the sand, but it actually cracks to the other side of the wood golem. So it actually broke through 2 of those defenses. So even if you argue that to a lessened down version to this Obito, it would just be insanely broken via range ninjutsu. So yeah, he didn't have to touch Torina if he wanted to kill him. He could have just killed him. Obito has options when he fights. He just doesn't like to use them. An example being how Obito's mastery of 6 Pats abilities comes out when he's fighting Conan. He never uses the black belted blade, which is a result of 6 Pats. It's not a result of the Rinnegan. The Rinnegan can create them, but this is more so due to Nagato being exposed to the Mazo, which is what the blades are derived from. So Obito actually can create this.
But as I was saying earlier, I'll quickly say for those who are just joining us, mainly Eternal Flame here, since, you know, he wasn't here for the first bit of the stream. Sage Naruto definitely has a very hard time because this is Orange Mask Obito versus Sage Naruto and his crew when they roll him against Pain. Obito's definitely gonna have a bit of a harder time only because of the fact of Frog Kumite. He can't really see it, so it's gonna be more difficult. So he'd have to remain intangible for quite longer. But yeah.
Same blades, he just can't inject chakra the same way
that
Nagato can via the Rinnegan, which is why
Obito
needs the Rinnegan later on to use the Edo Jinchuriki. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Obito can use these blades, and on top of everything I mentioned before with the blades and Pain, which maybe you can argue to do to create up the user's chakra, there could be fundamental differences between each user and how strong the blades actually are, which I do think there is something to, since Obito with the Rinnegan does know his chakra and like Bijou binding abilities are a bit stronger than Nagato's. He only uses
they're stronger than Nagato's Pain, Ghetto powers. They are stronger. That is interesting to know.
Uses this blade, which is a result of 6 Pats prowess, when he's literally explaining how he has Izanagi and 6 Pats light and shadow style. So he only reveals this when he's like revealing all his cards to someone who's dead already. So Obito can do all of this. Now, if he wants to, is a different story. I think in Naruto's case, it's a lot more interesting since Obito does have higher assertions, again, from compared to like Sage Mode Naruto. Pretty much every one of Naruto's attacks is just not going to hit Obito. Same thing with everybody on the battlefield, with Obito having long range.
Again, I think Frog Kumite could catch Obito off guard and definitely would land a hit on him. Now, we don't get a lot of durability feats for this Obito. You know, though I also don't think you could use the paper bombs feat because he had to use Izanagi. Now, could Sage Naruto survive that? Who knows? I don't know. That was like a million. Wasn't it like a million or a billion paper bombs? It was like way too many. It was like a ridiculous amount. Like way too many. But, yeah. Who knows?
Jutsu. He has Uchiha Keijin, which is the flame formation barrier that he uses when he's in the Rinnegan, but it's an Uchiha technique, like the Rinnegan didn't give him that, and it's a low chakra technique regardless. This same technique keeping out and stonewalling the A-tail, so it would be effective at pretty much gatekeeping or separating out maybe some of the toads or just separating somebody from Naruto. So Obito does have options at this point. He just kind of needs to stall out Naruto's Sage Mode timers or just be wary of Ma and Pa for a potential Gemarinsho Genjutsu.
Yeah, that's definitely tough.
Obito could pre-activate Izanagi, which lasts from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your interpretation.
It depends on if he feels like. First off, what do you know about that Genjutsu? He might know about that Genjutsu from Nagato, or the Pain's getting caught in it, maybe. But I don't know if he'd pre-activate Izanagi for that one. I don't know. That's a little Obito's kind of cocky. But again, Obito more than likely wins the fight, but I definitely don't think it's quite as easy as this.
Which would also allow him to stall out Naruto's Sage Mode 5-minute timer, which most people don't bring up in these battles either. As Naruto in this case wouldn't really be throwing Rasen Shuriken at Obito, as they would just miss every single time. So this battle is simply Obito just stalling out using his long-range jutsu. If he decides he isn't feeling as cautious and actually does want to reveal some of his arsenal. If you also do go off the idea that Obito does have a relative strength just due to the Hashirama cells to Pain, it actually may be possible for him to actually damage Naruto with his Black Belted Blade as well, which the Black Belted Blades also don't heal conventionally as well.
W stream shout as usual, but I gotta go now. All right, see you later, Crazy Grape. Have a great day, sir. I'm gonna continue, obviously.
So for example, when Nagato actually shoots one at Naruto, who is not only in Sage Mode, but actually has the Kyuubi Chakra stacked on top of it and reverts down to base.
See ya,
Naruto
sir.
actually still hasn't healed from that initial Rinnegan Rod that we see when he pulls out the book. He still has that same wound that's bleeding, which matters because when he gets the Kyuubi Chakra, it auto heals him, and then he also has passive healing on top of that. So the Rod's damage as well isn't really conventional. Even with Obito stats, Kakashi in the war, Kakashi for a small wound actually has to give himself stitches and can't just patch it up. So even the damage they do is unconventional and is pretty insane. So
you could argue that the Rinnegan Rods pseudo ignored or they actually just negate healing, which is actually really crazy to think about. I'm working on a Could Sukuna fight the 5 Kage Summit. But I was originally gonna do Sukuna versus Pain, and when you really think about it, the Rinnegan Rods, in the case of someone like Sukuna who has healing, they might just negate that, which is really funny. That's just really funny. Also, quick advert for everyone here. I apologize, just quick advert. I do have a YouTube membership program. Y'all can watch videos early when I post them on the YouTube membership program, because they go up on the membership program and Patreon first, and then they go up on YouTube every Friday. So the next video going up is that's currently up on the YouTube membership program is how would Team 7, the different stages of Team 7 do against each of the Akatsuki duos. It's really cool.
These 6-patch blades are no joke, and if you go off that relative strength idea, you would also be able to damage Naruto, or at the very least be effective in taking down a couple members here, like Ma and Pa. Gamabunta, Mr. Gamakin, and Gamma Hero are all Genjutsu fodder as well. There's no way they're going to be able to resist Genjutsu that can just outright control the Ninetales. So Obito could even turn some Sage Mode Naruto's own combatants against him. Only real way Naruto wins is maybe you argue he catches Obito lacking via materialization, where he maybe extends his attack range via Sage Mode from Kumite. An explanation also that you could use is that Obito deliberately didn't capture Naruto because he just didn't want to fight Sage Mode Naruto, Kakashi, and Yamato later on. But Obito's motivations later on are more so him wanting to have Sasuke power up and have Sasuke fight Naruto specifically for his entertainment. So I don't really like to look at that as a good argument.
Right.
So yeah, Obito should clear, but this is actually kind of an interesting fight.
Naruto has his win cons. Naruto could definitely win this fight, but I do agree with Thunder God in the sense of that Obito more likely wins it, but I definitely think Naruto has his win cons, especially since Naruto's only dealing with one person and not 6 different people. That's what a lot of people don't realize about the Paths of Pain. It's not just one person, it's 6 different people, all of which were above Sannin level. That's why Pain's such a monster. It's 6v1 most of the time. That's the big issue.
fight. Like, I don't think this would be free. This would actually be a really tough fight for Obito. And
Yep.
you would have to, especially if you argue Obito isn't revealing his jutsu, just him running around via Kamui and like trying to BFR Naruto would almost.
Does Naruto still go berserk? Probably not in this timeline. Because he gets sucked up in Kamui, and if he goes berserk in Kamui, like what is the Ninetales really gonna do? Even if he goes berserk and he still probably gets Kamui. Because if he goes berserk, it's actually worse for him because of the fact, you know, Obito, he's not thinking clearly and he can just get like well, Kurama's controlling him. Kurama might be able to figure out a way around Kamui. Who knows? It's really debatable. Kurama's like ridiculously intelligent, so he might be able to figure out something, but again, it really depends. If he goes berserk, it's gonna be harder for Obito because he's much harder to catch, but I don't know.
Be nigh impossible in this situation. So this situation would actually force Obito to reveal a pretty good portion of his arsenal just to
Yep.
get out of these strenuous circumstances, to say the least. Along with the added bonus that Naruto can just fight with his eyes closed versus Sharingan user, does add to the difficulty in this encounter.
As well, Obito can't catch him off guard with shit like Izanagi. Potentially, he might be able to. Depends on if you think Sage Naruto could sense it. You know, he has better sensory capabilities than people like Karin, who couldn't even sense them. It really depends. Who knows?
Like, Obito's almost hard countered here because Naruto does have a bit of nature energy boost. His reaction times are
Yeah.
boosted. So due to that, it will also make it easier to just get Obito on those like BFR attempts if he tries to like come up behind him and just grab him. Naruto will have those better reaction
Yep.
times to aid him against Obito.
And he's also got danger sense. A lot of people don't realize this Naruto has like a crazy danger sense. And that he just like good luck hitting him. Or look, good luck catching him lacking. He has like a really good danger sense.
A good example of this is in the war arc when Naruto's fighting White Mask Obito and
Yep.
he's in QB Chakra mode. You actually see him when Obito disappears from his line of sight completely. Actually, just does take a moment to pause and try and sense Obito, and actually does peep him when he comes
Yep.
out from underneath him.
He tried to catch him lacking. Nah, he don't catch him lacking. Never that.
Although that is a very different form of threat perception, I feel like you can extend the argument just a little bit here. Next
Right.
up, I have Pain versus Danzo Fu.
Oh, Pain stomping, Pain wiping. Like, this is just a really bad matchup for Danzo. This is like really bad. What a lot of people don't realize about Pain, Pain is just a Warrock boss who was introduced in the Middle Shippuden. Like, Pain is actually like ridiculously strong. Is this KCM versus Pain? No, this is if Obito and Pain swap fights. Like, he started off with like the kid versions of Obito and Nagato, and has been working his way up. Currently, it's like Pain versus Danzo. That's really bad. Oh god, Danzo gets like he gets completely just stomped. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. It's like really bad for him.
And Torne, and you might say maybe Obito didn't really fight Danzo. Shut up, it's my video.
Yeah.
Moving on though, essentially this is a pretty interesting discussion. I think Fu and Torne get obliterated almost instantly.
Yeah, like Fu and Torne are doing nothing against even the weaker paths. Like, they get obliterated like so quickly. It's like hilarious how badly. Like they get like decimated.
I don't think they're of the same caliber as like Sage Mode Jiraiya.
No, not even
like
close.
Peak Joni throughout the lead that Pain can't.
I don't even think they're of the same caliber as like Pain or Kakashi. Like like their caliber is really bad. They're really bad. Like they're like they got basically no feats. They're just bad.
continuously take down. I don't really think they're that big of an issue. They're probably just sub Yamato level since Yamato is regarded to be at the top.
Oh, that's even worse. Sub Yamato level? No way. Because here's the thing, right? Yamato's actually pretty strong because he's like top of the Anbu Black Ops. Like, he's stronger than most Anbu members. He's actually stronger than all of them. Stronger than all of Root, you know. He's pretty strong, but, you know, if they're sub Yamato, that's tough.
Top of the Anbu, but that is mostly or like pertaining
That's
to
really
the
tough.
Thirds reign, so they
Yep.
could actually still be stronger than Yamato, but I do want to note that. But realistically, like no, they're not.
Yeah,
they're
they
not
don't really do a
this
lot.
discussion
They
is
don't
not.
do a
I think
lot.
Fu and Torne get obliterated almost instantly.
Yeah.
Can Danzo beat Pain even with Izanagi? I don't
No.
think so. I don't think it's even close. I think
Yeah, Danzo gets obliterated. The problem with this is Pain has a counter for everything Danzo tries, right? Okay, let's say he Izanagi's, right? Tries to catch one of the Pains off guard. Nope, linked vision. They see that fucker coming a mile away. No. Now they see him coming a mile away. Let's say he does a summon. Okay, Animal Path does a summon to take out his summon. Vacuum Blade, Chakra Absorption. Like, what does Danzo do? Danzo does not have the arsenal to take down Pain. Nor does he have the scaling either.
I think Pain has a pretty easy time against Danzo. Danzo's going to struggle to actually take down the passive Pain. Danzo without Izanagi respawns is physically actually the weakest of the 5 Kage. I know that seems like a hot take, but even a character like Mei,
He was getting, like, just one-shotted by Sasuke. Like, hard one-shotted.
who doesn't really have a substantial growth later on in the war arc or is known for her physicality, can still just tank Susanoo punches to the face from a stronger avatar compared to Danzo, who's repeatedly just getting one shot by them. Pain at this point just has way too much coverage, just way too many ways to beat Danzo down, way too many summons that he can stack that Danzo really wouldn't have any answers for aside from just conventional wind ninjutsu such as the Vacuum Blast or Vacuum Blade. Pain also
Don't mess with Pain. Pain's like really strong. Again, and I'll say this again because despite my upcoming video, I think Pain is ridiculous. It's just Pain fights the people who Pain fights are just strong enough to kind of give him a hard time. Like Sage Mode Naruto is like a War Arc level character. You know, a lot of people don't realize it, but I think Sage Mode Naruto at the point of he fights Pain is definitely a War Arc level character, which is why he does so well. And again, Pain fights the entirety of Konoha and still wins. That's the crazy part.
Scales very well here because he's objectively above the Sage Mode Naruto that he had fought in the Leaf. Whether you argue that's a fatigued Pain or not, Naruto being heavily implied to be at the same level as Sasuke by the end of the summit. Now, whether or not you think Sasuke wins in that fight, I don't care. I just think they are very close. Naruto has a good gauge on Sasuke's strength, sensing his battle with Kakashi as he approaches the battlefield, that being 2 Susanoo arrows versus Kakashi.
Real quick, I do want to touch on this. A lot of people try to say like, oh, Naruto believes he needs to use Kurama's chakra to beat Sasuke at this point. I don't agree with that. My interpretation of it is that he needs to conquer Kurama's hatred before he can try to conquer the hatred inside Sasuke. So that's my personal opinion of it. I just think even end of 5 Kage Summit Sasuke, like before he goes blind, like the amped Sasuke, I don't think he's that much stronger than Naruto, you know? Because it's not consistent with what we see later on from Sasuke. Like EMS wise, he's like competing like relative to like Itachi. He's competing relative to like KCM2 Naruto. So and that's EMS. He gets like a massive amp from EMS. So again, it's not consistent.
Along with Sasuke's MS peeking out. The Naruto website also just listed Naruto and Sasuke during this fight as being evenly matched. The Naruto website article is being written by Caramel Mama, who is also credited for writing the 10th anniversary guide, the canon guide that is canon to the Naruto manga. With Caramel Mama also being directly referenced in the 10th anniversary guide itself among its writers. Now, sometimes the interns can differ on the Naruto like birthday articles, but you can just maybe argue like they were hired later, or these are just different writers who are just working directly under Caramel Mama. So I actually do think there is a bit to be drawn from the Naruto birthday articles, as they have good ties to a source that is directly referenced in the manga itself, being oversaw by a writer who has been on both projects. For those who don't know what Caramel Mama is, it is a Japanese editing and production service. This editing and production service has worked on numerous other mangas such as Dragon Ball and its guides such as the Daizenshu, being recruited for the official Naruto website back in 2022. Caramel Mama has also outright just worked on Naruto data books such as Data Book 1, where Kishimoto directly credits them, with them being the top spot in editing cooperation in Data Books 2 and 3. Not to mention also directly working on the data book for Naruto the Last. So to say that this editorial service hasn't had an extensive relationship with the Naruto series is an understatement, and it does help add the validity of using the Naruto websites as somewhat supplementary material. If you really want to get into it, they've also just been responsible on working on the anime since it started airing in 2007, specifically Naruto Shippuden, along with the fact that this is the method Shueisha chose to release the Boruto databases, which is essentially a replacement for the data books on the Naruto website. So if you actually did want a secondary source, you could look at the Naruto birthday articles, as the people writing them do come from a credible line. This is consistent with the narrative that's pushed with Naruto and Sasuke, that when they are both at a high enough level or close enough in strength that they're able to trade thoughts through their blows with
this is because this is like base Sharingan without Sharingan Sasuke, and this is like base Naruto, which actually implies that the MS might just like the MS. like at peak might just be like a Sage Mode level amp, which is crazy to think about. Like if you actually think about it, it might just be a Sage Mode level amp, which is like actually wild.
Both conceding that through an all-out fight, they both would die. The
Yeah.
Naruto manga and website both supporting this notion. But I will concede that Kodo would have an effect on the Rinnegan, even though the Rinnegan does have a natural Genjutsu resistance. For example, one of the Chunin who
I wouldn't give him Kodo Matsukami here because he used it in the summit, so I wouldn't give him Kodo here.
was being interrogated in the leave has over 13 Genjutsu blockers placed in his head, just as a jutsu that Pain can place on random people. The Rinnegan is generally touted as the highest grade of Dojutsu as it evolves from the Mangekyo Sharingan. The databook remarks it as the most sublime or the highest.
I actually wouldn't even say that Danzo's Kodo Matsukami would have an effect. Shockingly enough, because it's not the super dumb powerful one that Itachi has. This one, I just don't know if it would have an effect. That's the crazy part.
Like ocular vision with the chapter 508 synopsis statement regarding it as the strongest dojutsu. But the thing about Kodo is that it just kind of circumvents the whole I have a stronger dojutsu than you, so I can kind of like fight back against you or mitigate or just kind of overpower you in a Genjutsu battle. So Kodo probably just is an issue for Pain, but I don't even think the fight would actually get there. I think Pain is way too much in his arsenal. All of the paths.
The problem is, you know, we know that Kodo Matsukami from Danzo's Eye, like once you're aware of it, then you know it's like you can get out of it. And we also know that Mifune really doesn't have any good, as far as I'm aware, Mifune doesn't really have any good Genjutsu resistance feats. So I wouldn't even say that necessarily. That Kodo Matsukami is like crazy. Pain is country level. Depends on if you want to scale him based on Tail Beast Bombs, because he should be able to take down Jinchuriki. And he scales stronger than Kakazu and Datara. Datara is able to one-shot the three tails. And we know Biju should be able to endure their own Tail Beast Bombs. So if you want to like scale him that way, he scales anywhere from large country to like multi-continental, depending on if you want to believe that Tail Beast Bombs are vaporization or pulverization. Some people say they're pulverization. Some people say they're vaporization. Depends on where you scale them, you know?
Abilities. He has summonings to cover himself from Danzo's respawns. He can play at a distance. Nothing Danzo has is really going to be that threatening, and Pain should actually just wear down the timer before Kodo would even reach on time. This is also, if I'm not being ratty and just saying that due to Obito actually starting his fight against Fu, Torne, and Danzo before Danzo had actually unlocked his arm, isn't the starting point. If you say that, then Danzo's double fucked.
Oh yeah, if Danzo has to take that thing off, yeah, there's nothing he's doing. He's getting, that's Raps GG easy, you know? Someone pray for Danzo. You know, he's going to the Pure Lands to meet the people he's fucked up. That's just GG easies.
So, yeah. If it's just that version of Danzo with his arm that's still sealed up and stuff like that, one Rinnegan Rod is all it takes for Pain to take him down.
Yeah.
Just from there, it just goes GG. Last up, we have red-haired Nagato versus Kakashi.
Nagato should probably win this fight. Like, I'm not sure Kakashi can win this fight.
In Obito's place in the
reason why I say I'm not sure is this is again War Arc Kakashi, and War Arc Kakashi is like much stronger than like Pain Arc Kakashi. Like he's able to somewhat keep up with KCM1 Naruto. He's able to keep up with Guy, and I think he's able to somewhat fight alongside Minato. So he's like pretty strong.
Commonly to mention. Now this is a very interesting fight since a lot of people are split on what happens during this fight. I will say this much, right? So this is the way I interpret this fight.
Okay, here's the thing, right? If you believe Obito was not holding back against Kakashi, then Nagato's gonna have his fucking hands full, and this Kakashi might be able to win this fight. If you believe Obito was holding back, then I don't know.
It is clear that Kakashi has a general speed scaling that puts him pretty relative to Obito in close quarters combat.
Right.
Now, a lot of people point to the fact that Obito did throw the fight, and this is true. His main objective in that fight was to not beat Kakashi. That is very evident by some of the things he does in that fight. For example, he uses a regular fireball, which he's never done before, versus like what he could have done, a fire style bomb blast dance. He didn't use any of his wood style. He didn't use any of his Rinnegan abilities. So it's very clear that he's just not going all out.
Well, he did use the chakra rod, but that might not be, you know. Though also the thing is, Kakashi does kind of know how to counter the Rinnegan abilities, so you could argue that's probably why he didn't use a lot of them.
This encounter, and that's okay. Kakashi can still be relative in close quarters combat even if Obito isn't using all of his techniques. Obito also just isn't using his natural fighting style as he's fighting without Kamui. So it's like, it shouldn't be an issue that Kakashi can just like compare him close quarters. He just wouldn't beat Obito outside the Kamui dimension. That's all it would mean. And it cuts both ways because you have scenes like Kakashi getting ready to Raikiri Kakashi as soon as they get into the Kamui dimension, Obito kind of being stunned. And then you have other scenes with like Obito landing on his back and actually getting off the ground with one hand, both not being usable, one of them having the like black belted rod on it, and then jumping upright and standing to clash with the Kakashi, who had already been charging downward and applied a Raikiri to this blade. So again, like, this cuts both ways. Kind of nitpicking this fight for one fighter or the other doesn't really work.
You could just say they're relative at that point. And it's like not necessarily inconsistent because Kakashi does get like massive freaking amps during the war arc. Like, it's wild how strong Kakashi gets. And this is like prior to DMS. So this is like crazy amps Kakashi's getting. Like, he's on like that mid to high Kage level at this point.
To suggest that they're both comparable in close quarters at a similar level, and Obito is just more so withholding his techniques and not fighting with his natural fighting style. This also shouldn't really be that surprising considering even outside the Kamui dimension, characters like Naruto and Guy can compete with Obito for short periods of time. So this really shouldn't be that crazy to anybody. Now, with that being said, where does that kind of place Kakashi? It places him in a good place to suggest that he would just be a bit faster than or able to deal with Nagato in terms of close quarters. The best way I could describe this fight is that Kakashi has better speed scaling, like in favor of him, due to him scaling to Obito in this regard. And then like everything else just completely goes to red-haired Nagato. Nagato's scaling does somewhat cap at QB Naruto and the likes of version 2 Killer B, whereas Kakashi is able to fight alongside a Naruto who's improving with Kurama's chakra. This would also be a version of Naruto who just isn't having his chakra split up via shadow clones. Said shadow clones would have long since popped at this point during the war. So it's kind of a situation where Kakashi does have better stat implications, where Nagato just has such a dominating arsenal. I mean, all of the Rinnegan abilities,
It's definitely not an easy fight for Kakashi. Even if you say he wins, it's like a high diff fight. Only because of the fact the Rinnegan's crazy. Like, when you really think about all of the abilities that the Rinnegan grants you, you know, chakra absorption, the rods, you've got ripping out someone's soul, you've got all of the Diva Pass ability like Shibaku Tensei, Shira Tensei, you've got Pancho Teni, like just so many abilities. And the summons too. How does Kakashi deal with the summons? That's difficult.
Of the potential.
Well, he could calmly like the summons potentially. I like the potential.
Shibaku Tensei in the Kamui dimension, which sets up this weird situation where like Nagato has so much, but just due to where Kakashi's at, could he really just run up and Raikiri like Nagato's head off at that point?
Maybe.
It's a little less far-fetched when you consider the idea that Kakashi later on in the war, after the Kamui dimension, is actually a bit...
Would you say Sage Mode Naruto's light speed? Yes. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, there's no question in my mind he's light speed. He's like, you could actually argue he's way faster than light speed. Like, you can argue that Naruto's like MFTL to MFTL plus. Like, you can make arguments for it. Only because of the fact that characters who should be weaker than that Naruto by a lot scaled like FTL. Like, in the first fan book, you know, what is it called? The Anbu are stated to be light speed. Haku's Ice Mirrors are stated to be light speed. Part 1, Itachi's Waterfang Bullet stated to be light speed. It's like, there are too many light speed statements for character, and also Kakashi's able to react to that Waterfang Bullet. So it's like, characters who are weaker than him are FTL. So Sage Naruto absolutely should be light speed, if not way faster than light speed.
Bit of a Minato rival, the fact that he's able to fight against Uzetsu controlling Obito with...
I was a relativistic plus pain believer. Fair enough, I guess. Like, here's the thing, right? You can scale the fourth Raikage to way faster than FTL, just based on implications. Because he was like he rivals Jonin Minato, who also has FTL statements. You know, it's just like crazy the implications for the Raikage and like some of the past characters. It's like nuts.
Minato. There are blast marks all around the battlefield on both sides, and Minato and Kakashi are huffing and puffing. So a battle did occur here, which again just really has good stat implications for Kakashi. But it's kind of like, do you really think that'd be enough to take down Nagato? If not, and you actually think Nagato could get a hold of Kakashi or just chakra
It's difficult to say if
drain him completely.
it's difficult to say if he could get a hold of Kakashi just because of the speed disparity. Could he react to Kakashi? Maybe. There's a chance he could, sprout a Asura hand to catch Kakashi, but like, could that hold him? I don't know. Like, he may just be physically strong enough to break out of that. It really depends on like how strong you believe Kakashi is.
Completely, it would be kind of cooked for him. The fact Kakashi also has or would have had fought the Rinnegan pretty extensively at this point would aid him greatly in this type of scenario. This also being a factor in why Obito didn't expend extra chakra in using the Pain's abilities against Kakashi and Guy.
Yeah.
Kakashi should have the AP to just tear through Nagato as well, and Nagato's durability is pretty significant. Whether you think he just outright reacts to version 2B or actually does tank his lariat before he actually saps off his version 2 cloak, Obito does concede that Kakashi actually could have killed him in the Kamui dimension. This being significant since Obito is notorious for just tanking Rasengans while in the Kamui dimension, whether to his arm or directly to his face.
Yeah, so like he just has blatant scaling above like KCM1 and KCM2 Naruto in terms of AP with his Raikiri. And so I definitely think he could kill Nagato. Definitely. 100% he could kill Nagato. Like there's no question in mind he could kill him, but like could Nagato catch him? Maybe. It's debatable.
Now, due to Nagato being an Edo Tensei and him being sealed directly, that actually does leave a lot of problems for Kakashi because he wouldn't have effective enough sealing jutsu to put down Kabuto. Kakashi actually does have some pretty impressive sealing ninjutsu. He's actually able to seal the curse mark back in part 1. This being something Sasuke himself actually calls back on to actually unseal Orochimaru from the curse mark. But binding a curse mark via your own sealing formula is not the same, obviously, as just sealing the soul of an entity that is set or like put on.
He might be able to seal the not Kabuto, Nagato. He might be able to seal him, maybe. It really depends on how good you think his Fuinjutsu is.
Immortal body. So if you just say like Kakashi has the stat advantage but can't seal Nagato, yeah, Nagato is just going to regenerate and completely overwhelm Kakashi at a certain point. Whether he just stacks summons, starts launching out Shibata Tensei, or just blows Kakashi back with large gravitational waves. Inversely, if you want to be kind of ratty,
I don't like FTL Naruto because of how loosely they're used. If you take them seriously, then Naruto's FTL the first arc, at least at the end of part 1, which I disagree with. I don't. Saying Naruto's FTL by the end of part 1 definitely, I don't think is ratty at all. I mean, by the beginning of part 2, he's fighting Akatsuki members. He's like fighting Akatsuki. So I definitely don't think that's necessarily ratty. Like a lot of people don't understand that Naruto by the end of part 1 is actually insane. Like he's able to, like KM0 Naruto should scale he should scale to the KM, like he should scale above the KM0 Naruto who fought Haku, who was just stronger than the first arc Kakashi. Like Kakashi blatantly is like terrified of him. And Kakashi also admits that Haku's stronger than him, and Haku's just like he's flabbergasted and just doesn't believe how strong Naruto is at this point. So yeah, it's like not even like inconsistent. So and then you've also got Kimimaru who's like fighting this Naruto, and then Sasuke's also like, comparable at least to base Kimimaru with his 3 Tomoe. So it's not even inconsistent necessarily.
He just leaves the Kamui dimension, which it kind of does after a certain point. So the short answer is Kakashi should outstat Nagato, but wouldn't actually have something to permanently put down Nagato in this situation.
What's funny is, just back on the FTL Naruto statements for just a second, it's not even inconsistent because of the fact that Kakashi is able to dodge an FTL strike from or able to like react to somewhat an FTL strike by Itachi. It is a bit of an aim dodge to a degree because he anticipated what Itachi was gonna do with his Sharingan. So you could argue it's more like a potential relativistic feat than an actual FTL feat, but who knows?
Maybe he could like stun him for long periods of times with Raiton Shadow Clones or lightning cables, but Nagato would just eventually outlast him and just catch him off guard or take him down with something. So Kakashi would win that. It was a straight up fight. Or if you go with the idea that like Nagato can't be sealed, he technically would get a W, which isn't really a win con. I'm more so just noting that if you wanted to like make more of a case for Nagato. So that's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I don't want to milk the watch time too much on this one, because
Right.
I could just throw in matchups like, oh, Nagato versus Ten Tails Madara, who's gonna win? Like,
Yeah, that's like. But yeah, that was TG's video. Let's see if there's other videos from these guys we can watch. You know, because I'm having a lot of fun right now watching and scaling these guys. I want to see what else we got. Actually, I haven't watched a lot of TG's videos. What does TG got? I've watched some of his videos, obviously, because I do like TG. TG's good. What does he got? I've already watched EMS Sasuke versus 5 Kage. That was a good video. What is this? Haku versus Kimimaru? Yo. What do you guys think? Let's see Haku versus... Now, this is interesting. Haku and Kimimaru are, like, really underrated. So let's see what this is about.
what's going on, guys? TG or Thunder God here, and today I'm talking...
We're just milking TG for content, you know? For stream content, we're just milking TG. You love it. You love it, don't you? It's great. But TG makes some great content. What can you say?
About a matchup no one has talked about for some reason. Seriously, there's like... What?
Goku versus Yajirobe. Which Goku? Oh, Goku versus Yujiro. Depends which Goku and which Yujiro.
Video on this topic, and that being Haku versus Kimimaru. The parallels between these two are just
if you want my personal opinion, if it's like not sick Kimimaru, then I definitely think that Kimimaru probably wins that fight.
undeniable, both being tools used for another's purpose, both being the very embodiment of
Mhm,
limitless
mhm, mhm.
potential and what a shinobi is. With both
But if it's not, if it's sick Kimimaru, then it's a little closer. I still think Haku probably loses that fight though.
just leaving the series too soon. So today I'm going to be looking at Haku and Kimimaru, their part 1 feats, their Shippuden stuff,
Right.
their arsenals, just seeing who would come out on top. Enough chit chat, let's just get straight into the discussion. Now starting off with Haku, I actually talked about Haku in great depth in my Team Minato versus the
Thunder God's video? Oh yeah, no, I know that one. And I'm not big of a Baki scaler.
Land of Waves video, so I'll link that below so I don't, I'm just gonna kind of bridge my thoughts here. But Haku from his introduction is just stated by Kakashi to be outright stronger than him due to his rank as a Hunter Nin. Now, it's actually likely that Haku just killed a Hunter Nin to take the mask, as him and Zabuza were being chased by them. But
Right.
the important bit is that Haku's skills are evidence enough for him to fit that rank. So Kakashi's assessment should still pretty much be on the ball. We then find out from Zabuza himself that Haku's outright stronger
Yep.
than him, as he remarks to Kakashi that even if the copy ninja were to defeat him, he would never be able to beat Haku.
Yeah, Zabuza just kind of knows how strong Kakashi is at this point because they fought multiple times. So based on his assessment, he believes Haku should be able to beat Kakashi. So putting Haku above Kakashi isn't necessarily inconsistent, which is kind of surprising.
We also know that Haku just blatantly wasn't going all out in his fight with
Mhm.
Naruto and Sasuke, along with him just expending great amounts of chakra from using his Ice Prison Jutsu, which also allowed Sasuke to acclimate to his movements better, along with the, the suppression and that he
Mhm.
gets beat by a Naruto who skyrockets to Jonin chakra levels, with both Kakashi and Zabuza mistaking Naruto for each other, just due to
Yeah.
the sheer volume of chakra that Naruto is emitting. Now, I don't want people to, I have to stress Haku's suppression because it's talked about a lot in the data books, and Zabuza kind of makes it clear as well that Haku is a very gentle person and is consistently fighting against his nature
Right.
as a shinobi. So him losing to Naruto and not wanting to kill Naruto and Sasuke is very, it makes complete sense. With Naruto taking on a version of Haku that's been fatigued, along with having that suppression earlier, along with the fact that Haku just never was really able to show off his full capabilities, as we see where he's just able to blatantly intercept Kakashi's Raikiri, even being fast enough to throw Senbon at the scroll that Kakashi passes with Raikiri, which is pretty impressive speed-wise. Even if you go off the idea that Haku is amped here, his later feats actually do support the notion that he's outright stronger than pretty much everybody
Right.
here. So a lot of Haku's feats in this arc, or anti-feats people can use, can be chalked up to Haku suppressing himself due to his real nature being gentle, and him fighting that always out of a, just a desire to be used.
So again, it just supports that by the end of part 1, they're most likely FTL. Like, it just supports it by the end of part 1, they're most likely FTL.
To Zabuza and following Zabuza's will, which is Haku's ninja way, along with him gradually getting fatigued from a jutsu that uses large amounts of chakra, along with losing to a Naruto that can be argued to be very different than other versions of Naruto later on in part 1,
Yeah.
who just has like Jonin levels of chakra. So while I don't disagree that Haku could potentially be mental amped or something to that degree, even with him potentially blitzing Kakashi
Right.
with his Senbon, that does not mean that Haku's full power wouldn't be on a similar spectrum, as we're going to see later on with the Edo Tensei stuff. Now,
Right.
sliding past that, we're going to talk about Kimimaru in part 1. Kimimara's part 1 feats are a lot easier to brush off.
No, Kimimara's like part 1 feats are pretty good actually. He was able to chakra fatigue Gaara. After fighting for a while, he was able to chakra fatigue Gaara, which is crazy.
As we know for a fact, he's afflicted with a life-ending illness. I don't want to brush over this either. This illness was affecting him in almost every aspect. Even basic movement being a feat in his state. At the point Orochimaru was surprised, Kimimaro could even move in his body in that state, along with Kimimaro outright stating, I no longer move using flesh. I use the power of my mind. Are you Brainiac, bitch? What is that supposed to mean? If you want an actual answer of how he's probably doing this, it just, like, if you were going to ask my opinion, Kimimaro would more than likely be tapping into more of the mental or spiritual energies, which are half of the mock-up, which
yeah, that's crazy. Okay, a lot of people don't realize Kimimaro is kind of goated as fuck.
Constitutes an individual's chakra. This is in line with what we see because Kimimaro
don't mess with Kimimaro.
His new purpose is to protect Kimimaro's newest vessel if he can't be that vessel. So bro went from having like an existential crisis to just having a new reason for living. Along with the fact that we've seen individuals with degrading physiques such as Hiruzen shoot up when his mental state is in the right condition. So it's more than likely just due to him having his renewed purpose with Orochimaru, which if you want to look at it long term, maybe all of Kimimaro's showings in part 1 are just the result of a really strong mental lamp that isn't indicative to anything close to his full strength. Regardless, though, doesn't really change too much. I just kind of wanted to, you know, throw my 2 cents in the well. Kimimaro is outright suffering from the Itachi syndrome, which allows us to essentially take a lot of what he does, but what he does doesn't cap him in his capabilities.
Right.
If that makes sense. As this is someone whose full power would have made it so the Hokage's assassination would have gone smoothly.
Yeah, the fact that had Kimimaro been there at full strength and made a difference in the fight with Hiruzen is actually wild. That puts him at like potentially Sannin level at full strength, which is a crazy notion. But hey, you know what? He is him. He definitely is him. Don't mess with Kimimaro.
I'm not hearing that someone who would have been relevant against the strongest of the 5 Kage beside a Sannin is being held to his feet, like his sick feats, as anti-feats. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hearing that. And even this sick Kimimaro...
I'm not hearing that. It's crazy. But you know what, Thunder God? I respect it. Everyone respects Thunder God. You know, if I get the chance to collab with this guy in the future, I will take it in a heartbeat because I really like his scaling. Dude's a smart Naruto scaler. Why I do have some differences in opinion in takes. What verse are you most knowledgeable about scaling-wise? Naruto and Dragon Ball. I might actually say my Naruto scaling, my Naruto knowledge might have eclipsed my Dragon Ball scaling a little bit. But it's between Naruto and Dragon Ball. I think I might be better at Naruto now than Dragon Ball because I've done a lot more Naruto scaling on my channel. And I've been doing a lot more research, but it's definitely very close between Naruto and Dragon Ball. Very close. Very, 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 very close.
Like ridiculously cracked. He runs a mini gauntlet with Naruto, Lee, and Gaara and just beats all 3 of them, or would have beat all 3 of them as he out chakra fatigues Gaara. Along with Kimimaro and Gaara actually just being stated on the editorial statement as the strongest warriors, which is very consistent since the following statements from the duo are the strongest spear versus the strongest shield. So
yeah, that's actually crazy to think about that Kimimaro not only chakra fatigue Gaara, but was going to kill him. Yeah, Kimimaro is kind of cracked.
It's very clear that what we see from both of these individuals during the duration of part 1 is not their full power, is not their full capabilities, with both of them having higher statements, higher scaling, or just blatant reasons for why they're not performing at their peak potential. So this segues us into the Edo Tensei feats, and I want to start off by saying this. These 2 are strong because they were brought back by Edo Tensei. Kabuto doesn't just revive jobbers. Except that one magnet-style user that Naruto one-shot. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
When we look at Haku's War Arc feats, it does paint a better picture that he is just outright stronger than any of his showings really display, or that he's just not going all out. As we see, he reacts to and blocks attacks from War Arc Guy and Lee. 1 encounter with Guy and 2 with...
Yeah, no, War Arc Haku is, like, actually crazy. Like... If the War Arc is indicative of Haku's true strength, it's actually wild. Welcome, Supreme Tyrant. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the chat. Or sister, whatever you choose. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome. We're reacting to some of Thunder God's Naruto stuff. And I'm just giving my takes on Naruto scaling. You know, just flexing my Naruto knowledge. You'll love to see it.
Lee, along with being very threatening to people like Sai and Omoi, who had previously fought Akatsuki members, along with outreacting the likes of Gari, who was somebody that also needed to be stonewalled by a pretty monstrous character in the form of Guy. So Haku just...
You'll love him. Again, like people underestimate Haku's strength. Haku's really strong.
Scaling to a base where Guy and Lee, who are just growing stronger throughout the
Mhm,
duration of
mhm, mhm.
Shippuden, very consistent with his higher end showings, with the obvious him just intercepting Kakashi's Raikiri in the war. And although Kakashi during this part in the war didn't have control
I'm
over
just
his
trying. You know, I'll watch. Is that what he? Was that what he said? Oh, you know what? I'll watch. Welcome. Well, welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. You know, we're just. I love scaling Naruto. Naruto scaling is fun for me. You know, because it's a great brain exercise, and also, you know, it's just fun to talk about.
body for a period of time. Haku's interception of Kakashi does come about while Kakashi does have control of his body. Like, the control is given before Haku actually appears. So on the higher end for speed, Haku would just scale to this War Arc Kakashi, at least beginning of War Arc, but I do want to note that this is Haku appearing from his Ice Mirror, which is Haku at a faster speed than him just like running around the battlefield. Or maybe if you want to argue he uses body flicker, that could be a different story. But this is really the highest interpretation of Haku's strength. Kimimaro, on the other hand, does have some impressive showings as an Edo Tensei. He takes on the company of Samurai and Mifune in a very 5 Kage Summit Sasuke-like fashion. And what's actually interesting is that Kimimaro's bones that protrude from his palms are able to clash with the Samurai swords. And even though they indent a little, like the Samurai note, it's so hard, and they're and they're not able to
Pause is crazy. Oh shoot, wrong. What happened?
What's going on, guys?
Oh, it freaking hold on. Let me go back. I was so caught off guard by that. I actually clicked on another video.
Palms are able to clash with the Samurai swords, and even though they indent a little, like the Samurai note, it's so hard, and they're
That's a hard pause. That's like a crazy freaking. I'm still. Oh, that caught me off guard.
And they're not able to just like cut right through it. And this is important because Kimimaro is actually capable of making more dense bones using his shoulder blade as he does in his fight with Naruto. So he's able to clash with samurai blades that are akin to Sasuke running right on through his Chidori, which maybe you can imply something, but yeah, Kimimaro is able to create something strong than that. He's also shown being on par with Granny Chiyo. He's actually shown a little better than Granny Chiyo at the beginning of their fight, as he reacts a bit better to Ibushi summoning, as Granny Chiyo lets out an actual wah, kind of shook summoning and all.
Wah! Like she's Waluigi. That's crazy. Wah! You know?
But you could argue this is a distance thing, as Kimimaro was farther away from Ibusei's initial summoning. On top of this, Kimimaro is one of the few Edo Tensei to actually remain alive even after Naruto clones show up to the battlefield. Like, they remain unsealed. Kimimaro doing this alongside Granny Chiyo.
Yeah.
And I want to note that this is Kimimaro again.
Hisoka Mora. Mora, welcome to the chat. Oh, never mind. Hisoka redacted their message. Bye, I guess. I don't know if you're staying. Welcome, Bo. Welcome to the chat. I'm flexing my Naruto knowledge on power scaling, and we're just reacting some of Thunder God's videos because he makes great power scaling content, you know?
And only using like the partial curse
mark. Right.
He never like uses more power or goes into curse mark stage 2, yet is able to compete and just stay relevant with someone of Chiyo's caliber. So you probably infer that Kimimaro would just outright be above Chiyo via this.
Which is really funny. If you scale him above people like Chiyo, he would scale like above like average Akatsuki level. Because again, welcome Hisoka. But yeah, she was able to fight relative to Sasori alongside Sakura, you know. And so it's just like, you know, she does what she does. She does what she does best, you know.
Suppressed state, but I want to make it clear that specifically this would be Chiyo, like the old version of Chiyo from a stat perspective without her extra puppets. The waters get muddied a little further when a Naruto clone shows up to the battlefield, and the reason this is relevant is because, as I mentioned previously, Kimimaro and Chiyo are never taken out, and we actually do see that this Naruto clone is holding a Rasen shirt.
And actually, in the anime, it's shown that Kimimaro can actually fight relative to this Naruto. Like, he actually scraps with him. Like, they straight up just start scrapping hands in the anime. Kimimaro and Chiyo dodge a Rasen Shuriken from this Naruto, and they just start scrapping in the anime. Like, the anime does Kimimaro some crazy justice. I might actually have to do a video on that. That's like, Kimimaro in the anime is like just nuts. Don't disrespect my man Kimimaro. You know?
And then the following page throws it with the anime supplementing this with Kimimaro just outright.
Yeah, he shows.
And usually I'm all for using anime just as supplementary material or anime canon, but I will say this scene specifically is kind of bad in the anime compared to the manga. For example, Kimimaro uses Bracken Dance to take out a bunch of samurai.
Yeah.
But in the anime,
Yo, Julian Noah, welcome to the stream. I am doing great. We are scaling Naruto. Holy shit, where are those people coming from? Hello, welcome. Thank y'all for coming by. Holy crap. We got more people here. But yeah, I'm just scaling Naruto, flexing some Naruto knowledge, reacting to Thunder God because Thunder God is Thunder God. He's goated as fuck. So yeah.
there's just a bunch of swords impaling them. You know what I mean? So like I just thought
Oh shit. Well, welcome Calcfish. Welcome Box. Good to see you, bro.
that was funny when I was coming across that. Which
Yeah.
leads to this weird situation where did Kimimaro and Chio just beat the QB Naruto clone? What happened? Well, we really can't say for certain. I think that's a fair interpretation, again, as Chio's pretty insane.
At bare minimum, they lasted against him. They fought him, which is crazy to think about. That they fought him for like an entire, like what, half a day, like until nighttime, until the El Tensei was removed. That's how long they fought him for. That's how crazy it is.
In her ability to just take on someone of Sasori's caliber. Chio noted to have undiminished strength actually in her older age, which is probably closer to a Hiruzen situation where her body maybe couldn't keep up to the same degree as it could as in her youth, but she still does retain a lot of her strength. With Chio in her prime fighting someone of Hanzo's caliber, I actually did go ahead and get this statement translated, and it does seem to indicate that
Oh, what video are we watching? Sorry, I totally didn't see your comment. We're watching Haku versus Kimimaro. If Thunder God made this, you know, it's actually a very interesting video.
they did fight seriously or did have a combat encounter. I know some people argue the interpretations, like this might have been a poison encounter, or maybe Chio was just healing on the battlefield. But the more accurate translation does seem to indicate that they were fighting seriously, which is something that more so indicates that they actually fought.
By the way, do you think Chibaku Tensei scales the pain physicals? Potentially. I mean, he does use chakra to make Chibaku Tensei. As we know. Shinobi do, what is it called? Amp their bodies with chakra. So if Nagato is able to pump that much chakra into pain, and he has like ridiculously good chakra control, it does make sense to me that Pain should be able to amp himself with that much chakra as well. That does make sense to me. So I would say like he should scale to his Chibaku Tenseis. It's like not inconceivable. And if you want to take the games, Nagato literally using the Asura path explodes Chibaku Tensei as in his ultimate. Well, I calced at the planetary. That's really funny. Send me that calc, by the way. That's really funny. If you send me that calc, that just upscales a bunch of the verse. That's actually crazy. Send me on Discord. Yeah, send the calc in my DMs. Thank you. That's funny.
Opposed to just having these roundabout
Uh-huh.
So this essentially means that a prime peak Kimimaro, if you go off his Edo feats, would either just scale to someone of Chio's caliber,
Right.
or just scale outright above a QB Naruto clone if you go with that interpretation, which does make things a little more difficult. You could also go with a Mifune interpretation where Mifune had beat that weakened version of Hanzo, the one who, you know, lost his ninja wave, all that jazz. And that version of Mifune also didn't take down Kimimaro, along with, you know, that QB Naruto clone.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it is also possible that mid-confrontation, the QB Naruto clone did pop, as Naruto actually hits a critical state of exhaustion against Obito, and even Gyuki's kind of, like, because Naruto had been splitting up his chakra, and the Nine Tails can take a proportionate amount to the clones he splits up, he's like, why is Naruto not dead? He should have been dead. So you could maybe argue a fight also did take place and the Naruto clone popped halfway through. So there's a lot of wiggle room with this Kimimaro stuff, which kind of turns into how do we interpret the Kakashi stuff that Haku scales to, along with the base lead, base guy stuff, those higher ends, to the, you know, Chio, QB Naruto, Mifune stuff. Where do they stack up in comparison to one another? I actually don't think it's as far off as maybe some people might think, and I'm going to explain why right here. Early War Kakashi only really scales or fights along a more fatigued version of QB Naruto. And not too many people grasp the idea that we don't really see a full power QB Naruto in the war, because he splits up his chakra, or the chakra he stole from the Nine Tails, into these shadow clones that all just turn into Kage level fighters. Yeah, that is crazy to think about, that Naruto just splits up his chakra and they're able to help on so many different war fronts. And it's basically implied that Naruto single-handedly turned the tide of the war. That's like the implication. He single-handedly turned the tide of the fucking war. That's nuts. Which is crack in of itself makes it really difficult to just say where Naruto is strength-wise. Now, from what we see, Naruto just kind of gets comboed around by 5 of the version 2 Bijou. Naruto and V are essentially in a 6v2 scenario, and Naruto's really just like, he's getting comboed up. Like, there is literally a sequence where he gets hit by 3 of the version 2 Bijou back to back to back until he gets stuck in B's palm, and then that's when Kakashi and Guy intercept and join the battlefield.
Yep.
I also don't think their performance against the version 2 Jinchuriki are really that crazy because they're really running ones at that point. And in the same sense, they get repelled rather easily against the version 2 Jinchuriki. Whereas if you look at Naruto, he's confidently fighting them when it's a one-on-one situation, laughing, having a conversation with Kakashi, and just confidently blocking up a version 2 Utakata.
Right.
This is all in reference to Kakashi's physicals, of course, as his physicals don't really...
Did Haku get stronger after Edo Tensei? You could argue that Haku's just not holding back potentially. It's debatable, but again, he's fighting a lot of like Jonin level and a lot of like, you know, potentially low Kage level people. And then Kakashi, who fought him, is also like mentally nerfed. Is this a different video? No, it's the same video. It's the same Haku versus Kimimaro video.
Really get a crazy buff until he receives chakra directly from the Nine Tails later on. As from this point against the Edo Jinchuriki and the fights with White Mask Obito, Kakashi's mainly just charging up Kamui snipes, and Kamui is far faster than Kakashi's own combat abilities. Some people
that is true.
Blitz tier faster, but he doesn't really actively engage, and most of his engagements, for example, just come in when, like, for example, the A-Tails is throwing him. Pretty much most, if not all, of the main feats against White Mask Obito are just results of Kakashi Kamui sniping Naruto, Naruto's Rasengans, or Naruto's clones. Which, while impressive, his MS would extend his visual perception and is a different metric than the one we're trying to gauge, that being Kakashi's physicals, and how that necessarily compares to a fatigued version of Naruto. I also stress that this Naruto is more than likely fatigued, as right after this point, he runs out of his QB chakra mode, pretty much making it that the best comparison is at a Naruto whose chakra is split out and his mode is about to run out. Now, there is more to this, but it essentially raises doubt at the validity of Kakashi and Guy just outright scaling above QB Naruto. A full power QB Naruto, that is, especially since Kakashi's own company still had 3 Edo Tensei left as Naruto arrived, and Naruto sped up that process so fast that it made it so Kakashi and Guy could transition over to a completely different front. Would Kakashi cook a KCM clone with Kamui? Casually, no difficulty, it wouldn't be an issue for him. And that's a Kage level shadow clone. What I'm saying is that their physicals just haven't been displayed to be in different tiers at all. I don't think it's that that blatant to where they just like Haku just intercepting that Kakashi outright gives him a slide beyond a QB Naruto clone.
Oh, hold on, what?
I also want to say,
I thought I was pausing it, but yeah, Kakashi should not be in a different tier than Naruto. Like while Naruto should be stronger than Kakashi here, he still shows some level of relativity. Same with Guy, and again, Guy can like just amp the gates as well. So that's actually a pretty good feat for Haku, actually.
Doesn't give Kimimaro a slide right above Haku because even though like all of Naruto's QB chakra clones are Kage level, they just are. Naruto's just ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, no, Naruto's crazy.
There still is doubt in that encounter, and you can definitely interpret it a couple different ways, which makes it so that this matchup, while there are scaling implications for both sides, I will grant you that. You could probably slip it one way or another, depending, as obviously I didn't just like make a case for everything. It pretty much makes it that these characters are within the same range, right? So where how they are as fighters and how they fight stylistically is what matters here. Do you think Haku's just feats base Guy, Lee, and Kakashi give him a slide over Kimimaro's potential scaling to Chio, of beating potentially a QB Naruto clone, or Kimimaro's lore implications of being maybe comparable to that Sannin tier, or being relevant enough in that battle in a peak state? Maybe that could be referencing Curse Mark 2 or base, whatever you want to interpret with that. But I think a lot of these characters are within the same range to where, again, this just comes down to a stylistic matchup. Let's kind of get into that part of the discussion. Now,
if you want I'm going to go give my quick opinion on who I think wins this fight. Honestly, I think Kimimaru might have the advantage in close range, obviously. Haku, if Haku puts up his ice mirrors, that could be a problem. But again, Curse Mark does do wonders for his physical stats. So, you know, it is what it is. I definitely think it's very close, but I think I might give the slight edge to Kimimaro.
Starting off maybe an early fight sense, I think Haku has potential higher speed implications with Kakashi's Raikiri, which just is outright faster than his regular combat speed, at least when he's moving linearly and has a bit of charge up, which he does in the Haku encounter. It leads to the idea that even if Haku's physicals may not be that fast, him popping out of an Ice Mirror would probably be his best bet. He'll have to teleport long range or close range or just create that dome of Ice Mirrors. And Haku's main way of attack is actually a lot simpler than Kimimara's. He just attacks mainly with Senbon or can create Ice Needles as an application of his Kekkei Genkai, and mainly attacks vulnerable areas.
What a lot of people don't actually know about Kimimaro, though, is he's got a pretty damn good healing factor. Kimimaro has a very good healing factor. Like, every time he splits open his skin to use his bone release, he heals from it.
Areas such as the neck. While there are further applications of...
He also heals from when Gaara does the sand coffin on him. Like, the normal sand coffin, he heals from that, which is also pretty crazy.
Haku using his Ice Mirrors, as we see when he makes that Ice Shield to block Zabuza as an Edo Tensei. We just haven't seen more applications, which makes it difficult to just give Haku more to his arsenal. So, looking at that, he has actually a very simple game plan. It's just going to either be to trap Kimimaro or just outright blitz him down or just keep a distance. Whereas Kimimaro is going to counter with the Dead Bone Pulse, his Kekkei Genkai. And I'm going to be honest, from an arsenal perspective, Kimimaro hard counters Haku badly, and I'm gonna explain.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Haku is that he's somewhat of a glass cannon and will struggle outright with more durable characters. This is where Kimimaro excels, as once he goes into Curse Mark Stage 1, he'll be able to create a layer of bone underneath his skin. A lot of people don't understand that this not only protected Kimimaro, but allowed him to just claw out of Gaara's Sand Burial that just crushed him.
Yeah.
This would mitigate any and all of Haku's Senbon, which just haven't shown the AP feats to breach it.
Yeah, even Gaara couldn't breach it with his even Gaara couldn't breach it. And that's crazy because Lee did attempt to use the first gate on him, and it just didn't do jack, didn't do squat, you know.
And this bone does cover up to Kimimaro's neck, as we see it covering his skull and like base and cheek, which makes it so his neck would more than likely also just be covered from potential Ice Senbon.
Yeah.
Haku's AP feats are a lot more lacking aside from popping one of size Ink birds, so it's possible, but I don't think there's enough to suggest he'd be able to do permanent damage to Kimimaro in this state. And something I want to add to, too, is that even if Haku were to potentially damage Kimimaro in base, which is definitely his best way of taking him out before he has time to go into the further stages of his Curse Mark evolution, but even then, it's actually displayed that Kimimaro does seem to have some low-end regeneration, as he can just heal from the damage, such as when Gaara's Sand Burial crushed different parts of his body and skin, which doesn't fall... It kind of does fall in line with his ability to be able to manipulate...
Auto-scaling is confusing me. Okay, what's confusing about it, Anime Monarch? If you let me know what's confusing, I might be able to explain it to you. I'm very curious, like what's the confusing part. If you tell me, I'll try to explain the best I can. You know?
Cells that create blown, and Osteoclast cells that absorb bone from his
Inverse more than crossverse? Yeah, what about the inverse scaling's confusing?
Kekkei Genkai. His ability is almost
I'll be keeping an eye on the chat to see what you respond with, and I'll try my best to explain it.
Immensely rooted in regeneration as his body repairs the damage, and he's just able to create more bone. Naruto also remarking that Kimimaro just outright heals whenever he pulls bones out.
Yeah, because he literally wounds himself to pull out bones, but then he heals it. Like, Kimimaru's like kind of cracked when you really think about it.
Also wouldn't stack up to someone of Sakura or Tsunade's caliber, for example, but
I'm Sarah, by the way. Oh, no, I know. I know you are. I can see you in participants. I can see you in chat. Don't think I don't know you're still there, Box. Don't think I don't know you're still there. I see you. I hear you. You know? That sounded mad sus. Hold up. Pause for a second. That sounded mad sus. Ain't no way.
I do think there is something to this point. Kimimaro also being a close range fighter aids him greatly here with his 5 dances, along with having ranged options in the form of his digital shrapnel, which are bones that Kimimaro fires through his fingertips, and these actually do quite a bit of external damage or are able to affect Gaara's Sand pretty significantly. Like, they're not getting brushed off. These are making huge indents in Gaara's Sand defense, and even though they're not breaking through, the fact that they're having that much of an effect, I do think is pretty noteworthy, which also adds to Kimimaro just having really good, like, AP showings. Again, that doesn't mean that, like, like Haku's mirrors are as durable as Gaara's
Mhm.
sand, especially since Haku can just like, you know, reinforce his mirrors by pouring more chakra into them. But what it does mean is that Kimimaro generally has higher implications of what he could do. And I also think this is a result of his Kekkei
Yeah.
Genkai, the Dead Bone Pulse. Now, this just being remarked as the strongest Kekkei Genkai, which I know a lot of people might attribute to the Sharingan, but realistically, like most of the users or Uchiha we see in the series are insane outliers. Regarded as the strongest Kekkei Genkai, it implements a perfect attack.
Here's the thing about in part 1, the best we know is like the 3-Tomoe Sharingan. So you could argue that this is just blatantly better than the 3-Tomoe Sharingan just because of how good defensively it is, how good offensively it is. It's like actually crazy. I actually want to do a video of a Final Valley Sasuke versus Kimimaro because I think that's a really cool matchup. I want to do a video on that.
And flawless defense that is like the power of a god or demon. Kimimaro's Kekkei Genkai really offers him limitless options. For example, right? Let's say he's like Curse Mark stage 2 and Haku traps him in the ice mirrors or something to that degree.
Right.
Kimimaro can just use Bracken Dance, which is noted to create thousands or tens of thousands of bones.
He just, boom, he's out of there.
That protrude through the ground, and Kimimaro could just travel through them, so he could just escape the ice mirror pretty easily. And the ice mirrors are noted, especially the prison, to just sap a ton of chakra from Haku. You then have
like Haku just shouldn't do that, and then Haku's gonna have like a big problem on his hands. Just massive problems. Too many problems.
Kimimaro making that bone drill. You know, he knows his bones have calcified the farthest that they can go. And then you have things like him teleporting or just traveling through the bones in Bracken Dance and appearing through just like he was about to kill Gaara with that same bone. That was only really countered by Gaara's Shikaku defense, mixed in with the earth for a stronger defense. So Kimimaro generally just has an insane arsenal advantage. He generally becomes too durable. I mean, this is the same dude that was just walking out of sand burials. Like, not any sand burial Gaara did ever just took out Kimimaro. He was just walking through sand defenses. So you have to ask yourself, where are Haku's ice sand bones scaling to just put this guy down in this, you know, weakened?
They're not. Like, none of... Haku really doesn't have anything that can really put Kimimaro down. And Kimimaru's got a lot that can put Haku down. Like, Kimimaro just has better win cons, shockingly enough. You know?
State. So Kimimaro has ways to escape the prison. He has ways to become too durable for Haku to really pierce him. He can also probably just run through one of the ice mirrors, if I'm being entirely honest with you, just due to how insane he is in Curse Mark Stage 2. Whereas Haku's best bet is to really play keep away and either take Kimimaro out at the beginning of the fight or at the very end, because Curse Mark users like Sasuke, who Kimimaro is compared to, can only really maintain the Curse Mark Stage 2 for short periods of time. Same thing with the Curse Mark.
Here's the problem, though. Even if he can only maintain it for short periods of time, I think he's tagging Haku and probably impaling him. Like, that's the big problem. Like, what does Haku, like, really do against Kimimaro? I don't understand what he does. I just think it's, like, difficult for him. I think it's really difficult for him, you know? Let's continue watching.
So if you kind of look at it like that, it's also possible for Haku to come away with a win, but more often than not, like, Kimimaro's arsenal just completely outclasses Haku in every capacity, becomes too durable, has higher AP implications, has pretty much an answer for everything Haku does, except with Haku just being long range with his ice mirrors. I don't think any of Kimimaro's dances would also just tag Haku. I think this battle more so comes to an end with Kimimaro just either escaping the ice prison and fatiguing Haku, or just breaking them all together, whereas Haku's win condition just play keep away because he's not really going to be able to put down Kimimaro. So I think Kimimaro more often than not comes out on top until you take Haku's higher, you know, skill interpretations. If you do, let me know what you guys think down below, who you think.
Yeah, I for the most part agree with TG here. He just has way higher implications. Now, there are a couple of videos I was very curious about. One of them being Team Minato versus the Naruto Chunin exams. That actually piques my curiosity. But we will have to watch them some other time. I hope you guys did enjoy the stream. If you did, remember to like, remember to comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Did I say comment? We're live streaming. Don't worry about it. And remember, Kajima for Suka fan animation? I might. But anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Until we meet again.